Hokage give me a face. One Piece, Chapter 81-100. Chapter 81_upside downhill. Wait for me, Luffy yelled, using the rubber fruit to escape. Luffy's rubber fruit still has some advantages when it comes to escaping and being beaten. Therefore, not long after Yizan and Robin left, Luffy also fled under the pursuit of Smoker. Go go go, Nami yelled excitedly. The feeling of running away made Nami feel very fresh. Of the boat, watching Smog who was chasing after the shore, and twisted his ass magically. Yizan's words made Nami, Robin, and Kia embarrassed Yuhi, and looked at Yizan embarrassedly. Brother Zan, you are too embarrassed. However, the three girls just finished saying this. Big Smoke Man, come and eat fart after us. Luffy and the others actually followed Yizan's side and wiggled their butts like magic. Don't be too sarcastic about that D's look. Too bad, too bad. Smog had a very bad temper, otherwise he wouldn't be so unhappy, and now Yizan took the lead to ridicule him. The anger in his heart was going to explode. Be sure to catch up with them. Please calm down, Dusky, who was beside Smog, said to Smog. Dusky's lady's words finally restored Smog, who was in a state of chaos, to a trace of calm. Go, apply for a transfer order, and be sure to catch them. Smoker yelled. While Smoker was yelling, on the Golden Mary, everyone who left Rog Town froze happily on the deck. Only Yizan covered his head in grievance. Why did you do this to me? Yizan's words made Kia on the side also coquettishly. Brother Zan is really bad. What did we do to you like this? Nami grinned at Kiba and covered her own ass. If you don't get beaten for 3 days, then you go to the house to uncover the tiles. Is there any reason to touch someone's ass? Robin also co-authored a book and stood in front of his shang, watching Yizan warily. This performance still has to start from the D's just now. When the girls were excited and frolic, Yizan finally couldn't bear the girls' yuhuo, and he was able to get along with the girls. When they came here, everything changed. The girls changed their faces instantly and gave Yizan a pink fist. Although it didn't hurt, Yizan still pretended to howl. Hearing Yizan's howl, Luffy and the others felt that they were about to cry, and Yizan's performance must be a performance that will be settled in the future. What? We didn't mean to disturb. Zoro was almost on the verge of crying. Although Sauron has always been an emotional idiot, he was also afraid of Yizan after being trapped by Yizan a few times. It wasn't intentional, that was intentional. Yizan looked at the crowd with a dangerous smile. No no no. Usopp quickly faced Yi Xuandao. We have no way to continue sailing. The route in the distance is blocked by a mountain. Mountain. Nami looked at everyone strangely. Come and see, Nami said, and left first. And Yizan, after seeing that there was no chance to take advantage, also stayed with the girls and went to the deck. Just got to the deck. Everyone saw a high mountain blocking their way. How is this possible? Nami looked at the distant mountains in surprise, blinked her eyes strangely, and looked at Yizan involuntarily. See what I'm doing? Still can't understand such a simple question. Yizan said casually, making Nami pouted. The next step is the Great Waterway. You don't have to rely on me for everything. Didn't the previous meteorological research performed very well? Why can't you even understand this problem? Yizan's words made Robin take a look at the mountain opposite, think for a while, then look at Yizan and ask, is the Great Route ahead? So this is the twin point of the Great Route. No, it's not right. Nami slowly looked at Gao Shan and said, if there are mountains blocking it, how will the sea flow? If the sea flows, it means that there is definitely water flowing through. Nami's words made Yizan come to Nami's side. I finally reacted. Come on, Incense One. Don't, Nami said normally, and was already kissed by Yizan. And Luffy and the others turned their heads in horror in an instant. There was no way. Yizan hadn't responded to the things that disturbed Yizan before, and everyone was scared by Yizan. Good or bad? Nami broke free from Yizan's arms. Nami quickly said to Luffy and the others, it's okay, keep going, I'll go to the observatory, always ready to turn," Nami said, and quickly went to the observation deck. And Yizan also secretly kept up with Nami. On the stairs, Yizan raised his head and looked at the scenery under Nami's skirt with a smile. Tisk tisk, black. Yizan's words made Nami bow her head, but she happened to see Yizan's head almost digging into her skirt. "Bastard, go down." Nami wanted to kick Yizan with her jade feet, but she accidentally landed on Yizan's head. Hate. Somewhere happened to sit on Yizan's head, causing Nami to subconsciously let out a soft cry. "Wow, it's just heaven," Yizan thought in fascination. 3 flowers. With Robin's voice, Yizan felt that Nami's figure left him in an instant, and by the time he reacted, Nami had already arrived at the observation deck. While Yizan was dawdling, everyone came to the observation deck. Twin points. Twin points. Nami thought for a while and said, "Is this route between 2 Yamanakas?" Nami said, and quickly glanced around with her spectacles. And it take long for Nami to say excitedly, "I found it, it really is." Nami said, came to the edge of the ship, and directed to Luffy below. Under Nami's command, the Golden Mary passed the Twin Capes smoothly. However, as soon as the Golden Mary passed through the twin points, it saw a hill, blocking the entire channel. "Ah!" Luffy yelled, at a loss. And Yizan raised his eyebrows. "Island whale." "Island whale." Nami and Kia looked at Yizan strangely. "What is that?" Chapter 82 _ Long time no see Kurokas. Robin explained slowly to the crowd. Island whales are a type of whale that only inhabits the western waters. They are the largest whales in the world. They usually swim with their partners. These whales are very intelligent and can even listen to knowing human language. High intelligence coupled with huge size and groups of people acting at the same time. It is very tricky. It is a very powerful race. Robin's words made Koya ask strangely. A group of island whales living in the western waters. Is this the thing in front of you? Yes. This is a single island whale. Yizan explained slowly. When Yizan explained, Luffy and others screamed and rushed into the mouth of the island whale at a loss. "Brother Zan, is this really okay?" Robin asked worriedly. "It's okay, the island whale is not a very tyrannical species." Yizan's words made Nami wrinkle her little chong nose and said to Yizan, "Then I don't want to go in either, it's dirty." When Nami spoke, the boat had already fallen into the mouth of the island whale. An instant, a dark yuhi color enveloped everyone. "Ah, Brother Zan, if you are good or bad, don't touch others. Don't touch people's butts. Brother Zan, don't touch people's houses." In the darkness, the screams of the women came one after another. And Yizan, who was taking advantage of both sides in the dark, said very seriously, "Don't you wrong me, okay? Obviously I didn't do it. It's not your fault. Aren't you a ghost?" The girls clucked their tongues, telling the impression of Yizan in the hearts of the girls. After this dark yuhi color, the crowd fell into a lake surface, with blue sea and blue sky. "Ah, where is this place?" Kaya, who had closed her eyes nervously before, looked at Yizan and asked. Robin looked around curiously, and the daring Robin kept his eyes open the same way as Yizan. "Here is the belly of an island whale." In the belly of an island whale. Nami also looked at everyone suspiciously and said. And Nami's words also informed everyone that Nami was timid and closed her eyes just now. It's amazing. Nami, Robin and Kia looked around in amazement. They couldn't believe it was actually inside the belly of an island whale. "Let's go down and see, I want to see what's going on here." Nami shouted excitedly, and came to the deck with everyone. "Yizan, why are you here?" Luffy looked at Yizan and shouted, it's over, what's going on? Do you want to follow me even after I die? Damn it, you want me to die? King Yama doesn't dare to accept me," Yizan said domineeringly, sitting at the bow of the boat casually. "That's my position," Luffy said weakly, but after being glanced at by Yizan, he weakly lowered his head. There seems to be something wrong with these scenery. Robin did not know when he stood behind Yizan and looked at the surrounding scenery strangely. Found it. Yizan smiled and stroked Robin's white and tender legs with his backhand, making Robin's beautiful legs stick to Yizan's back. They're watching, Robin said shyly. Yuhi. Yizan turned around in an instant. Luffy and others had been looking around for a long time. Only Nami and Kia widened their eyes, watching Yizan's hand pinching on Nami's lap. Just look at them, they are all sisters. Yizan said casually, changing the subject. These scenes are really wrong, because these scenes are painted. How can I say it? The clouds don't move, and the trees are still. Robin looked around. However, the painter is very good, and you can't tell that it was painted. As soon as Robin finished speaking, a voice suddenly sounded. Hee, isn't the painting very good? This is what I painted. This voice made everyone turn around quickly and looked at the speaker. But he saw an old man with a weird hairstyle and beard standing on a island, not far away. Ah, someone here. Luffy and the others suddenly screamed in surprise. Aren't we in a whale's stomach? Why are there still people here? Zoro looked at the old man in front of him in shock and asked in confusion. Yeah, there's someone here, Luffy said in amazement, looking at the old man with the weird hairstyle and beard. Is there anyone here? Are you surprised? Yizan casually pulled Luffy's face in front of him aside. The old man looked at Yizan in surprise. You are, Yizan. Yo, Kurokas, your hobby is pretty fancy. Wouldn't it be nice to live in the belly of an island whale? Yizan's words made everyone look at the two in amazement. Brother Zan, do you know him? Kia asked in surprise. Well, his name is Kurokas. He is a ship doctor on Roger's ship. He has helped Roger to treat his illness for a period of time. He is a very skilled doctor. Yizan explained casually. Okay, you don't have to flatter me anymore. In front of you, a holy hand with the ability to bring back the dead, what qualifications do I have to say that I have superb medical skills? Kurokas hurriedly waved his hand. He knew Yizan's character Kurokas. It was clear that Kurokas still dared to suffocate in front of Yizan at will, although Kurokas's medical skills were indeed good. Ah, Luffy and the others looked at Yizan in disbelief, widened their eyes in disbelief, pointed at Yizan, and asked Kurokas in shock. You said, he's a doctor. Yeah, don't you know? Kurokas looked at Luffy and the others and said, Roger's lifespan is gone, pay attention, it's lifespan. It's not an injury. For those who don't, neither the doctor can do anything about it. Just like the doctor can't rejuvenate the old, the injured doctor can treat the injury, but there is no way to do anything about the end of life. Quote. Sanji listened to Kurokas's words and guessed in disbelief. What do you mean, he can increase people's lifespan? Kurokas nodded, looked at Yizan and said, can't you tell this from his body? Are you new to this? Yizan already looked like this in Roger's time. More than 10 years have passed, but I still recognize him at a glance, because his appearance has not changed at all. Chapter 83-fainted. Luffy and the others were completely stunned by the amazement of Kurokas, who all stared at Yizan in disbelief. Can people's lifespans really be superimposed infinitely? Can people live forever? Luffy looked at Yizan with starlight in his eyes. After seeing Yizan nodding, Luffy jumped up instantly, dancing and saying, It's so cool. Robin also looked at Yizan and said, it seems that Brother Zan doesn't care about this. Yizan waved his hand. It's not a big deal, I can have many ways to achieve this ending. Don't talk about me. In fact, you are also like this, not just you, Nami, Kia and others are like this too. I have already turned you into immortal bodies, but you are still relatively young, and you just didn't find it. Yizan's words made Robin open his hands blankly. I'm immortal too. Isn't it very simple? Immortality sounds powerful, but in fact, as long as the aging of cells is stopped. Yizan's words made Robin's eyes widen dumbfounded. Simple. Is this simple? Nami looked at Robin, and she was a little confused. So, Luo 897 Bin, do you know what's going on? Tell us about it. Robin looked at Nami and said, Simply put, there is a limit to the total number of divisions and proliferations of cells, so after a certain period of time, human beings will stop growing and become senile, that is, cells are tired, now, dead, but now what Brother Zahn is doing is to make this characteristic of cells disappear. It feels like the fusion of water and fire, which is counterintuitive. Although I don't know what you're talking about, I always feel so powerful. Both Kia and Nami looked like they didn't realize it. The crowd's reaction made Yi Zan wave his hand. Common sense is just that human beings understand the world with their own cognition. Once they go beyond cognition, they think it is against common sense. In fact, some things, you understand, it is not difficult. Quote. Yi Zan said this, but he didn't mean to brag. Yi Zan, who already knew many ways to achieve immortality, also has some say in immortality. Immortality is not immortality after all, and it is still a matter of being fatally injured. It will die. The immortality in Yi Zan's mouth is just that it will not die due to the end of lifespan under normal conditions. What about me? I don't have any. Usopp hurriedly came to Yi Zan and asked Yi Zan. You? No. Yi Zan glanced at Usopp and said casually. Yi Zan himself did not agree with Usopp's desire to live forever. As for why, one word, lazy, although using the fruit of face is not too much consumption to achieve immortality, but it is enough for Yi Zan to drink a pot. Therefore, Yi Zan said that he never meant to immortalize the men on the boat. With Luffy and the others unhappy, the entire space suddenly vibrated. No, Rabu is hitting the Yuhi continent again. Kuroka's exclaimed. Following Kurokas's exclamation, Kurokas quickly went to a room, and Yi Zan and others followed with great interest. When Yi Zan and others followed Kurokas to see the inside of the island whale, the other side. Should we continue? That's the devil Yi Zan, will the boss forgive us? In a corner, a man and a woman were having a sneaky conversation. And because he was in the body of the island whale, Yi Zan didn't even notice the two. These two are none other than Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine from Bar Rock Studios. Wait, if you don't do anything, it will be very troublesome for the boss to know. Mr. Nine said to Miss Wednesday. Wednesday, that is, Wei Wei, thought for a while, and pointed to the Golden Melly where Luffy was staying. How about we go to the ship first? Great idea. The two went to the ship of the Golden Melly, and after scanning the surroundings, they chose the area where Yi Zan was located very amusingly. This area is not much to say, the most important thing is whether it is the layout or other. All are very comfortable and luxurious. However, the two did not know that after the two entered this area, Yi Zan's eyes changed for a while. Huh? What's wrong? Robin looked at Yi Zan strangely, not knowing what happened. It's okay. Yi Zan glanced around. Everyone from the Golden Melly was here. Yi Zan glanced around boredly. Although island whales are very rare, Yi Zan has not seen island whales before. Therefore, after experiencing the initial curiosity, he was bored. Therefore, Yi Zan came to Robin's side. Robin, help me. Yi Zan said, and in Robin's strange eyes, he closed his eyes. When Yi Zan closed his eyes. On the Golden Melly, the area where Yi Zan was located seemed to be alive in an instant, and all kinds of arrangements in it began to be controlled by Yi Zan. What's going on here? Wei Wei looked around in horror. And Mr. Nine is more afraid than Wei Wei. Is it haunted? There's obviously no one here. Mr. 9 Feet's words made Wei Wei even more frightened. Glancing around, it shouldn't be. Ah! Before Wei Wei could speak, the stool behind her suddenly moved, causing Wei Wei to jump up instantly and scream in horror. And Mr. 9 was instantly louder than Wei Wei's voice. Then, both of them went into a coma. Ah! Fainted from fright. On the other side, Yi Zan opened his eyes and touched his nose. He didn't expect Wei Wei to be so courageous and afraid of ghosts. Hey, it looks like I've found something interesting in the future. Yi Zan raised his eyebrows and said so. When Yi Zan said these words, the island whale was finally settled properly. With the help of the ship doctor, Luffy and the others left the body of the island whale and headed for the next stop. Chapter 84 Wei Wei, who was bullied by Yizan. The golden Melly slowly left the belly of the island whale. During this period, the ship Dr. Kulokas also informed the life experience of the whale Rabu on this island. So that's the way it is. How can I say that you, a doctor with such superb medical skills, would stay here for a long time because of this? Yizan looked at the island whale Rabu and sighed a little. It's really a stupid pet. Ah. Kurokas also nodded in agreement. Yeah, silly whale, but it's cute, isn't it? However, it is a heart disease, not a drug that can be cured. Yizan said as he looked at the island whale Rabu. And when Yizan and Kurokas were talking about Rabu, a figure suddenly rushed out, holding a big mast in his hand. Okay, a good ship, what has it been torn down by this cargo? Yizan pouted speechlessly. Yizan remembered how the ship was in pieces when it sailed to the capital of water in the original book. It's a pity, the ship's spirit has already been born. Yizan thought with some emotion. When Yizan was thinking about this, Luffy was already fighting with Rab. After fighting for a while, Luffy made the promise that Rab would wait for him and continue fighting next time. Okay, everything seems to be solved perfectly. Yizan looked at all this with a smile. Then Kurokas, let's go first. If there is Luffy, it is estimated that Rabu's heart disease will be temporarily relieved. Yizan said to Kurokas. Well, I will stay here all the time. If you need it, please come to me. Kurokas said. However, Yizan felt that Kurokas was wrong. Yizan waved his hand casually and didn't go into it. After all, Kurokas is an old man now. In addition, there are 2 thieves in the area of the boat who are unconscious there. The Golden Mary set sail slowly, while Usopp muttered and began to repair the Golden Mary that was destroyed by Luffy. However, only Yizan knew that the Golden Mary was on the verge of collapse. After all, the Golden Mary is inherently flawed, but the Golden Mary made of ordinary wood simply cannot support the voyage on the Great Route. It doesn't matter. Now, the most important thing is. A sinister smile appeared on the corner of Yizan's mouth, and he quickly got into the room. In the room, a man and a woman were in a coma. Yizan casually threw the man Mr. 9 onto the deck outside. Who is he? Nami and the others gathered in front of Mr. 9 and asked strangely. There is obviously no man in this area except Yizan. How could such a man suddenly appear? Yizan condensed a ball of water at will, and smashed it directly at Mr. 9. In an instant, Mr. 9 turned into a soup chicken, and his unconscious mind was also smashed by this cold water ball and slowly recovered. Sober up. Yizan sat casually not far from Mr. 9. If you don't tell me, what are you doing here? The corner of Yizan's mouth raised a playful smile. Yizan's favorite thing is to play with others. I'm here because. Mr. Point 9 didn't know what to say. On the other hand, Yizan approached Mr. 9. Because you want to complete the mission, right? Yizan said with a smile that made Mr. 9 tremble. No, it's not like that. Mr. 9 hurriedly defended. Do you think everyone else is a fool? Yizan stood up casually. Mr. 9, right. This very obvious number is not an organization. Yizan casually held the back collar of Mr. 9. That's it, get out of here. Tell you the boss behind the scenes, the demon Yizan is here, and let him prepare the wine and food. Yizan said, ignoring the dancing Mr. 9, and released his hand. Whoa. After a sound of water, Mr. 9 fell into the water. Before falling into the water, Mr. Point 9 Feet's voice came out, where's Miss Wednesday? I was detained. Following Yizan's distant words, Mr. 9 was instantly dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say or what to do. However, in this case, Mr. 9 could only flee with the flow. When Mr. 9 drifted with the tide to find a place to dock, a vulture wearing sunglasses and a man with 2 sets of machine guns appeared. This person is Miss Friday. Help. With the call of Mr. 9, Yizan's arrival was finally known to Akatsuki by Sand Crocodile of Ba Rock Studio. Devil Yizan. Sand Crocodile was instantly stunned. silently pursed his lips and looked at the historical text in front of him. No, the cracking of the historical text has reached the most critical time. Even the devil Yizan can't stop my next action. Sand Crocodile was silent, thinking about how to stabilize Yizan. Yizan didn't know the entanglement of Sand Crocodile. If he knew, Yizan would immediately tell Sand Crocodile his weakness, lust. Brother Zan, can you stop being so lustful all day? Nami said helplessly, looking at Yizan. Yizan moved his hand on Nami's ass. Yes. As long as you promise me one thing. What's the matter? I promised. Nami looked at Yizan suspiciously and said so. A smile appeared on the corner of Yizan's mouth. He rubbed his hands together, and looked at Nami's delicate body. Well, touch me with your fierceness, and I won't be lustful all day. You believe in ghosts? Nami yelled. Forget it if you don't give it. Why are you reacting so violently? Yizan said casually. His hand on Nami's ass was very dishonest. I won't touch you, Nami said, and slipped away, when Yizan was about to chase after Nami. Will you let me go or not? Wei Wei said angrily looking at Yizan. Yizan yawned loudly. I said sister paper, didn't I tell you? You've been living with me for so long, you must pay some interest, right? Yizan's words made Wei Wei yell at Yizan angrily. I didn't tell you, as long as you let me go, I will give you the money back. I also said, I'm not bad for money. Yizan looked at Wei Wei with a smile and said, I only need to touch it, and I won't lose a piece of meat if I touch it. Why don't you want to? The devil is willing. Chapter 85-Luffy is getting crooked. Well, I can't tell, your cooking is delicious. Wei Wei looked at Yizan, and said vaguely because her mouth was stuffed with food. It was lunchtime, and Wei Wei was invited by Yizan, generous, to have dinner together. Of course, everyone knew what Yizan's purpose was. Hearing Wei Wei complimenting her on her cooking skills, Yizan immediately approached Wei Wei, and the evil big hand once again supported Wei Wei's slender waist. That's natural, my cooking skills are at the pinnacle, or else how to chase after sister paper. Can you take your hand off my ass before you say this? Wei Wei roared at Yizan. Yizan's hand that touched Wei Wei's butt quickly moved up to Wei Wei's waist. Your clothes are too slippery, my hand was clearly placed on your waist, and then slipped down. Naturally, Yizan's naive excuse would not win everyone's trust, and the girls pouted. The devil believes in you, Wei Wei said to Yizan. Wei Wei. Suddenly, Yizan looked at Wei Wei seriously. The serious expression surprised Wei Wei, and then she remembered that she was still a prisoner. Sorry. Wei Wei hurriedly looked at Yizan cautiously. And Yizan looked at Wei Wei and said, You've learned badly, and you actually admit that you're a ghost. Is it really good for you to believe me so much? Quote. The girls looked at Yizan and thought that Yizan was angry before, but now it seems that Yizan is still the same Yizan, and his natural amusing attributes are full. Can you put your hands on the food? Why don't you keep your hands idle when you eat? Nami said weakly. Yizan blinked his eyes. My hands are always on the food. Haven't you heard of the beautiful food? Yizan said to Nami. His right hand did not mean to take it away from Nami's leg, and at the same time gestured to Nami to Robin on the other side of him, and the girls saw Yuhi eating with shame. There is a hand on Robin's leg, which is Yizan's masterpiece. Yizan said to Nami. Did you see it? Learn it. While Yizan was talking, a figure suddenly ran into the room. Yizan, I smell the fragrance, are you stealing it again? Yizan put away his hands and looked at the person who came, with a dangerous smile on his face. Luffy, I didn't tell you, before entering, do you want to knock on the door? Yizan's words made Luffy startled and cried almost instantly. Luffy remembered the tragic punishment he had suffered in order to get rid of this problem. He only felt a chill, and hurriedly looked at Yizan. Well, the door was open when I came, so I went in directly. Luffy's words made Yizan's dangerous smile even more intense, looking at Luffy and said, You mean I'm blind and wrong? No, absolutely not. Luffy looked at Yizan very firmly, his round eyes looked very innocent. To borrow a word from my wives, I'll give it to you, believe in you to be a ghost. Please believe me, Luffy said sincerely. Yizan turned his head and looked at the girls. Did you see it? He asked me to believe him. What do you think? Should I believe him? Just like whether you want to believe me. Don't. After hearing Yizan's last words, the girls said in unison. No way, compared to Luffy's excuses, Yizan's previous reasons were almost pure nonsense. Yizan looked at Luffy, spread his hands and looked even more innocent. Look, they don't believe you. Luffy looked at Yizan speechlessly. What do you mean by not believing in me? It's obviously not believing in you. Luffy thought helplessly. But Luffy didn't dare to say these words casually. Okay, Brother Zan, he's just here to find something to eat. Kia picked up the barbecue on the table, handed it to Luffy, and said softly to Yizan. Nami and Robin both showed a slight wry smile, and after a long time, Kaya still hadn't figured out that Yizan was teasing Luffy just to satisfy her own bad taste. Kia's words made Yizan's playful heart temporarily put away. Looking at Luffy's gobbling, he asked with some mockery, Luffy, you don't mean that you found a cook who is better than me? The cook? Why don't you eat with him? Following Yizan's words, Luffy's devoured look stopped for a moment, and then he looked at Yizan with tears in his eyes. Yizan, help! Luffy suddenly cried and looked at Yizan. What's wrong? Yizan asked helplessly, looking at Luffy who was crying. Sanji doesn't cook for me anymore. Luffy cried and looked at Yi Xuandao. He said when I cancel the gender division on the bed, he is cooking for me, or else, it's just the most basic food and clothing. Quote. Luffy's words made Yizan pouted. Okay, isn't it just a division between men and women? You promised to cancel. Luffy's eyes widened and he looked at Yizan in surprise. Yizan gave Luffy a white look and said with certainty, no. Quote. Luffy's head was drooping, looking at Yizan as if he had been played badly. Yizan yawned loudly. You want Sanji to cook for you? It's very simple. Use your charm to conquer him. A strange look flashed in Yizan's eyes, and he said to Luffy. Yizan's words made Luffy look at Yizan suspiciously. Rely on my charm to conquer him. Luffy looked at Yizan suspiciously, not knowing what Yizan meant. Zan nodded heavily. That's it, that's right, Sao Nyen, let's move on. Yizan's words made Luffy lower his head in silence. After a while, Luffy raised his head with a firm look in his eyes. I will definitely attract him. Well, for food. Luffy's eyes seemed to flash a lot of delicious food. When Luffy said this, Yizan seemed to see the friendship of the three basic friends, and a thief smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Actually, you can have both Sanji Zoro in your pocket. Yizan bewitched Luffy. I don't listen to you. Luffy said, turned to leave, and said to Yizan, don't worry, I will definitely let Sanji cook for me. Oh, I see, Yizan said casually. Chapter 86-Luffy's neck. On this day, the wind was light and cloudless, and the comfortable weather made Yizan and all the girls come to the deck to enjoy the weather. And the other side. Luffy is also on the deck with Sanji looking at each other. Luffy, what's the matter with you? You're so wrong these days. Sanji, did you find that I'm handsome? Luffy shook his head, and a funny breath leaked out instantly. No. Both Zoro and Usopp stayed aside, looking at them, not knowing what to say. Brother Zan, look at what you have done. Name gave Yizan a white look. It's a good thing I did. I don't think so, Yizan said comfortably. How do I think I didn't do this? As the saying goes, there is no wind and no waves. How do I think it's not my fault? Yizan's words made Luffy and Sanji turn around instantly. Who are you? Who knows? Maybe you all have this in mind, and then push this matter down on me. Yizan said with a slap in the face. You really are a bad guy. Wei Wei looked at Yizan and said to Yizan cautiously. How can I be a bad person? 30. Yizan came to Wei Wei's side. Wei Wei took a step back in an instant, and covered her sensitive area with both hands. What do you want? As for being so vigilant, Yizan said embarrassedly, and had to withdraw the hand that was about to touch Wei Wei's slender waist. Of course. Wei Wei's words also made Nami nodded, and said to Yizan, okay, Brother Zan, don't make trouble, you will soon be at Whiskey Mountain. Whiskey Mountain. Luffy didn't know when he came to Yizan's side, looked at Yizan and said, what is Whiskey Mountain? Nothing, compared to this. How did you come here? Don't you know that you are forbidden to enter here? Luffy shook his head instantly. No, I didn't come here. And Yizan noticed that Luffy used the rubber fruit to stretch his neck, but just stretched his head over. Really? Yizan's mouth curled into a smile, and he hand-sealed with one hand. Boom. A loud voice sounded, and everyone stared blankly at the dividing line, not knowing when a wooden board fell and directly stuck Luffy. Ah, who did this? Tisk tisk, how miserable. Yizan shook his head and said to Luffy. Everyone turned to Byakugan. They all looked at Yizan's wide-eyed, nonsense, expression that was not Yuhi's face and breathless, and expressed their admiration. This kind of large wooden board without any trace of combination suddenly appeared, but it couldn't even be damaged by Luffy. With this kind of thing, who else among the people present except Yizan could reach this point? Luffy stuck out his tongue and pointed at his neck. Ho! Ha! After a while, Yizan saw that he was almost done, and only then did Mokudan, wood style, be lifted. Cough cough. Luffy directly covered his neck. To die, to die. Damn it. Yizan looked at Luffy speechlessly and said, you are a rubber devil fruit person, can you get stuck? When everyone was arguing about these things, the Golden Mary slowly came to Whiskey Mountain. Go down and play. The corners of Yizan's mouth twitched slightly. Soon the Golden Mary was docked at the pier on Whiskey Hill. And this also means that Yizan and the others finally set foot on the territory of the Chiwu-Heisha crocodile. Luffy. Yizan took a deep breath as he watched Luffy take the lead. The current Luffy is not strong in Yizan's opinion, it can even be said to be weak. He has no domineering, there is no naval six style, and even the devil fruit of the superhuman type is not strong. In this case, the opponent is the natural type Shasha. The fruit of the sand crocodile. Yizan really could not have imagined that Luffy in this state could defeat the sand crocodile. I am really looking forward to it. Yizan's eyes flashed. Yizan has already managed almost what his partners on Lu's spaceship should operate. If Luffy wins this battle, Yizan will make Luffy truly become a person who can stir up changes in the situation in the next time. Brother Zan, what's wrong? When Yizan was thinking about this, Nami and Robin stood beside Yizan and looked at Yizan strangely. No, it's nothing, I just thought of some things that can be lazy. Yizan said, and took the girls off the boat. What Wei Wei didn't expect was that she was also taken by Yizan and got off the boat. Aren't you afraid of me escaping? Wei Wei looked at Yizan suspiciously. Run. Yizan glanced at Wei Wei. Okay. As long as you think Sand Crocodile dares to take you in, you can go. Huh. Wei Wei looked at Yizan suspiciously. Robin looked at Wei Wei's surprised expression and said, on this point, Brother Zan didn't lie to you. You have never seen Brother Zan make a move. It is understandable that you lack awareness of Brother Zan's strength, but Brother Zan's the strength is definitely beyond your expectations. As for the sand crocodile, if you know it, you will never be the enemy of Brother Zan. Robin's words made Wei Wei a little suspicious. Although Yizan lied to himself all day long, Nami, Robin and others treated him fairly well, and they never lied to him. That is to say, this lecherous bastard is very strong. Oh. Just when Wei Wei wanted to say something, everyone on Whiskey Mountain began to loudly welcome Yizan and the others. I didn't expect pirates to be so popular in this small town. Kia looked at all this in amazement. Compared with the naive and elegant, Robin is much more rational. Looking at the surrounding scenes, he pondered, it's not right. What's wrong? The girls looked at Robin strangely. What's wrong? Robin frowned, looked around, was silent for a while, and then slowly said, I can't see what's wrong, but I always feel that something is wrong. This town shouldn't be that simple. Don't be fooled by the town. Blinded by the surface, this town should not welcome pirates. Quote. Robin's words made everyone look at Yizan. Look at what I'm doing. I want to go, Yizan said casually, walking ahead, gaining a new understanding of Robin's power of observation. Chapter 87-Whiskey Hill. The entire Whiskey Mountain is a bounty hunter's nest, and it is naturally carefully covering everything around it. It has been tried and tested, and almost no one can see that something is wrong. However, now Robin sees something wrong without entering the town. Even Yizan has to admire this. You know, because Yizan knew the reason for the plot. After seeing the town, he began to look for it. There was a clue, and even so, Yi Shuangkai saw something wrong, but Robin didn't know it at all. Just from the unusual welcome of these people to pirates, he saw some clues. However, it didn't take long for everyone to forget about it. Because everyone found that the people in the town actually started to hold a banquet to entertain their group. Eat, eat. Luffy and the others drooled freely in an instant, and walked towards the town regardless of anything. However, under the excitement of Luffy and others, it's so unpalatable. Nami and the others frowned slightly, but gave up after taking a casual bite. After being fed up by Yizan's appetite, they were not very interested in these ordinary meals. After seeing that the food was not attractive to Nami and her party, the people in Whiskey Mountain chose another favorite of the pirates. Wine. The girls tasted it a little, and then said they didn't like it. There is no way, as the so-called old wine, and time has no meaning on Yizan's side. Yizan can easily use time-space ninjutsu to make all kinds of wine, not to mention Yizan and the fruit of face. The existence of the wine is simply not too much. Wine is losing its appeal again. In desperation, everyone in Whiskey Hill Town is ready to look for things that everyone is interested in again. Then, all the people in Whiskey Hill feel that the world is so dark and their lives are so sad. Because everyone found out that Yizan and his party seemed to lack interest in everything, but after learning the truth, everyone felt that their life was like a beggar's life. All day long with delicious food and wine, a life of responsiveness is simply the dream of many pirate hunters. It seems that all this is a trap. Robin looked at the crowd and sighed slowly. Trap. Kia looked at Robin strangely, a little puzzled. In this situation, even a carefree person like Nami felt something was wrong, not to mention Robin. Only the innocent and cute girl Kia was still a little unclear. Okay, let's take a look tonight. I don't know how these people are shooting. Yizan's eyes narrowed, like the moon Kiba, full of cunning and playfulness. And when Yizan stayed in Whiskey Mountain. On the other hand, Chiwu Crocodile, looking at the command of the Navy headquarters in his hand, his face is very bad. The order of the Navy headquarters: stop the demon Yizan and wait for the support of the remaining Kibukai, the generals, and the marshals. How is this possible? Sand Crocodile frowned tightly. The Sand Crocodile can be called a hero, but there are some problems with the target chosen. The target of the Sand Crocodile is the ancient weapon, Pluto. And ancient weapons, as weapons that can destroy the world, are not allowed to be leaked at will, whether it is the world government, or the high-end forces of Tianlong people or pirates. But even so, Sand Crocodile almost succeeded in the original. This kind of mind makes Sand Crocodile very clear about the priorities of things. Where's O'Hara? Haven't you translated the historical text of the rubbing yet? Sand Crocodile asked, frowning tightly. No, there seems to be a problem with O'Hara. Several intelligence officers we sent have not sent back any news, and the phone bugs can't talk. Sand Crocodile heard the words and got up. Go and tell the devil Yizan, I want to cooperate with him. It's about Hades, ask him if he is interested. Okay. Wait. Sand Crocodile suddenly remembered something and said, leave this task to Miss Valentine's Day. Yes. And after Sand Crocodile did all this, he sat on the chair and took out a phone bug. Moses. The other end of Sand Crocodile's phone bug. We are about to reach you. This time, we can only succeed, not fail. Marshal Sengoku said firmly. In fact, Sengoku didn't want to take care of Yizan's affairs at first, but Yizan killed a kainu, which is absolutely intolerable for the Navy and even the world government. That is to say, the hostility between the two sides is inevitable. Not long after Akainu's death, Sengoku heard news that shocked himself and even the entire Navy executives. Yizan and Luffy, the grandson of naval hero Garp, are on a boat. Most importantly, Garp's grandson is a pirate. The consequences of Luffy and Yizan, to be honest, made Sengoku have to kill this danger in the cradle, but Sengoku didn't know that this danger was no longer in the cradle. Where's the staff? How's it going? Sand Crocodile asked in an unhurried voice. The cigar in his mouth was burning, flickering on and off. Sengoku pursed the corners of his mouth slightly. High-end combat power, Chingzi Kyabu, most of the lieutenant generals of the Navy headquarters, and some Shichibukai. Part of Shichibukai, isn't it all? Sand Crocodile asked. Well, this time Shichibukai has Doflamingo, Hawkeye Mahawk, and Bartholomew Bear. Sengoku said slowly. Only 3, only 4 with me, about half of them. Crocodile said slowly, and he was more certain of one thing in his heart. Well, but don't worry, this time. He won't survive, because there is still a fighting force here. Although it is strong, it has never participated in the battle with Yizan. Sengoku said in a strange tone. New combat power, can't survive, what's going on? Sand Crocodile was about to ask, but found that Sengoku had hung up the phone bug. Chapter 88-Disorderly Command. Sand Crocodile fixedly looked at the phone bug in his hand, his face a little bad. Sand Crocodile didn't want to be an enemy of Yizan. After all, the demon Yizan's reputation was too loud, but after a conversation with Sengoku just now, Sengoku's final battle power made Sand Crocodile hesitate again. The Navy has been standing for so many years, and the strength behind it is definitely not as simple as it appears on the surface. Sengoku knows the horror of Yizan's strength better than himself. Since Sengoku has the confidence to kill Yizan, then Yizan might be really fierce. Much less. Crocodile was a little hesitant and a little tangled. Now that he took one wrong step, the consequences would be unimaginable. The study of the ancient weapon Pluto, but not even the Navy and even the world government, was a forbidden place. Damn, why hasn't there been any news from O'Hara? Crocodile said angrily. If there was a translation on O'Hara's side, Crocodile would definitely choose not to be an enemy of Yizan. After all, his purpose was to create Hades, but, for some unknown reason, there is still no news from O'Hara's side. It seems that I can only meet Yizan on the surface. I hope Yizan will not embarrass me. After thinking about it for a while, Sand Crocodile 507 finally came to this conclusion. Sand Crocodile had this idea, and it was doomed to his tragic life. As the owner of the sad life of making sand crocodiles in the future, he is now watching the show with a leisurely mood. On the Whiskey Mountain, Yizan held Nami and Robin with one hand in one hand, while Wei Wei on the other hand kept handing popcorn to Yizan's mouth. No, this knife should go a little further to the left of Zoro. Well, this time it's not bad. Hey, Sanji, be careful, right. Yizan was constantly commanding on the roof, but if he didn't command, it was fortunate that once he commanded, Luffy and his group were in a hurry. Finally, Luffy couldn't take it anymore. Shut up, Luffy yelled at Yizan. Hey, I said how can you bite Lu Dongbin and don't know good people? Yizan shouted, okay, if you don't want me to command, I will command them. Let you see how strong my commanding ability is. Yizan said, and began to command Luffy's enemies, that is, many bounty hunters. This time, Yizan's command was not like when he was commanding Luffy and others. He was very capricious, but very serious. Yizan's command ability is unquestionable. He has experienced several ninja wars, large and small battles and even wars. Yizan has certain command experience. Soon, Yizan's commanding ability was revealed, and soon, Luffy and others felt the pressure surge. Yizan, who are you over there? Sanji yelled at Yizan. Yo, how dare you yell at me? My little temper. Yizan looked at the crowd with a smile on the corner of his mouth, in the ominous premonition of Luffy and the others. It's dark. Following Yizan's words, Luffy and the others only felt that the surrounding light was distorted for a while, and then all disappeared. Okay. The smile on Yizan's mouth became more intense. Left. Following Yizan's words, the bounty hunter who had gained some benefits from Yizan's command quickly moved to the left. Yizan, you bastard! Sanji yelled. Words made Yizan smile and say, thank you for the compliment, go hit them for me. Following Yizan's words, many pirate hunters attacked Luffy and the others even more frantically. Yizan said with satisfaction, look, how well behaved these people are. Luffy, do you think you deserve it or not? Tell you to be disobedient. Yizan's words made Luffy and the others almost cry. And Yizan's words also made Robin and others look down at them speechlessly. Some pirate hunters below Yizan and others are still in a coma. That miserable appearance was the most important reason why many pirate hunters did not take action against Yizan. Following Yizan's command, Luffy and the others began to suffer some damage slowly. I can't take it anymore. Zoro, Sanji, be careful, I'm going to shoot. Luffy shouted and started to use a wide range of attack moves. Luffy's attack was quickly blocked by Sanji and Zoro, and many bounty hunters were unable to resist Luffy's swift and violent moves. After all, Luffy and others are still better than these bounty hunters. It is much stronger, and Luffy's behavior also made Zoro and Sanji's eyes light up, and they began to use the same strategy as Luffy. After a while, many bounty hunters failed. In fact, this is quite normal. After all, the difference in strength between the two is too great. Luffy and others are far more powerful than many bounty hunters. Although Yizan is in command of many bounty hunters, he is not very serious. Command. So, it didn't take long for Luffy and the others to announce the extermination of many pirate hunters. Yizan, what exactly do you mean? After Luffy and the others finished all this, they came to Yizan and looked at Yizan angrily. What I mean is very simple, I just like the way you can't stand me and can't kill me. Yizan looked at the crowd dejected. Luffy and the others looked at Yizan, opened their mouths, but didn't say anything in the end. There was no way. Luffy and others found that they really could not sail far without Nami by Yizan's side. Nami, why don't you leave him? Luffy asked, looking at Nami. Nami shook her head. No, I won't leave brother Zan. Yizan held Nami's slender waist, looked at Luffy and said, Luffy, do you want a navigator? Luffy nodded quickly and looked at Yizan. Do you have other navigators? Of course. Yizan looked at Luffy and said with a smile. Tell me who it is. Luffy looked at Yizan eagerly. I won't tell you, I won't tell you, I won't tell you tilde. Yizan looked at Luffy sternly, and Luffy puffed up his face angrily, but he had nothing to do with Yizan. Chapter 89 Miss Valentine's Day. In the end, Luffy didn't do anything to Yizan. After all, Yizan's strength still made Luffy a little helpless. The night passed slowly in the depression of Luffy and the others. The next morning, Yizan appeared in Nami's room secretly. At this time, Nami was squinting in the bed, and in a daze, she saw Yizan's figure. How did I see that bastard? Nami thought in a daze, and suddenly, as if thinking of something, her eyes suddenly widened. What do you want to do? Nami instantly held the quilt tightly over her body and looked at Yizan with a full face of alertness. Don't do this. Yizan came to Nami's side with a wicked smile. Don't. Nami quickly said to Yizan. Damn, go out quickly. Okay then, Yizan said, turning around slowly. On the spot, Nami looked at Yizan in a daze as she turned and left, only feeling like she was in a dream. When did Yizan change his nature? And when Nami was stunned, she suddenly felt that her murderousness was shrouded in a pair of big evil hands. Nami was stunned, and then she saw that Yizan, who was not far away, had come to her side, a pair of hands already it's got into the bed. Big villain. Nami sighed helplessly. This kind of Yizan is a normal behavior. Baby, do you want to have a shot? Yizan's mouth evoked a sinister smile. Bastard, go out when you're done, I haven't woken up yet. Nami yelled at Yizan. I haven't finished touching it, how can I finish it? Yizan said, and his hands continued to move towards Nami's waist, but he was instantly stopped by Nami. Hurry up, I'm getting up. Yizan looked at Nami with fixed eyes and nodded. Hurry up. Nami glanced at Yizan and knew very clearly that it was impossible to let Yizan leave. You are really a badass, a big badass. Yizan replied casually, without any intention of moving his eyes away. Nami was helpless and could only get up slowly under Yizan's gaze. Look at you, just go to sleep, why are you wearing pajamas, how uncomfortable. Come on, let me take it off for you, don't thank me, please call me Lei Feng. Yizan's mouth curled into a smile laughing with Nami. Nami shook her head quickly, but it was already too late. Yizan still hugged Nami directly. During Nami's struggle, she slowly took off Nami's pajamas. Naturally, she had to get on and off during the period. When Yizan was about to do something with Nami, Robin's voice came from outside the door. Brother Zan, someone is looking for you. Robin's words made Yizan speechlessly give up teasing with Nami, and looked at Robin. What's wrong? Who's here? Yizan's face was written with great dissatisfaction, which made Robin's mouth slightly evoke a gentle smile. Okay, don't droop your face, it's a beautiful woman. Yizan's expression relaxed a little, turned around and glanced at Nami who was basically dressed up. Nami, I'm going out first, you have to wait for me obediently. The ghost will wait for you, and I will definitely end the matter of getting up when you come back. Nami looked at Yizan and said with certainty. Yizan shrugged casually and followed Robin out. Who is looking for me? Do you know the name? Robin skillfully grabbed Yizan's big hand that was about to fall on his ass, and gave Yizan a charming white look. I don't know, she said she represented the rock doll Croc in the 7 Martial Seas. Dolls here. Crocdar of Chihuahua. Yizan raised his eyebrows. What? Does he want to make peace? That's not possible. Yizan shook his head. Don't. Robin watched Yizan support his murderer again with one hand, and dodged. Why fight with K-Rockthal? Is there any benefit? Yizan gave Robin a white look. Benefits? Am I the kind of person who needs benefits before taking action? Yes, Robin said with absolute certainty. Brother Zan, who is in the late stage of laziness, will be dispatched for no reason. Yizan looked at Robin sadly. Robin, I didn't expect that I would be such an image in your heart. I'm so sad. I need comfort. Yizan said. Before Robin didn't react, he buried his face in Robin's murderousness. Robin's body instantly softened due to his warm breathing, but he was hugged by Yizan, and a pair of big hands messed up Robin's ass. Hate. Robin's pretty face was a fan of Yuhi. She was too shy to know what to do. She looked around in a panic, and was very worried that someone would pass by, although Robin himself knew that it was impossible for anyone to pass by with Yizan. After a while, Robin finally couldn't take it anymore. She closed her legs tightly, and Yizan was panting heavily, pushing against Robin somewhere, making Robin's little heart pound. I can't take it anymore. Yizan let go of Robin, looked at Robin's shy and powerless appearance, took a deep breath, suppressed the flame in his heart, and whispered to Robin, waiting for me in vain tonight. Under Robin's shame on Yuhi's face, Yizan finally left in a good mood. Hello, Yizan, I'm Miss Valentine's Day. Yizan looked at the fashionable girl with an umbrella in front of him, and replied calmly, well. Miss Valentine looked at Yizan at a loss. The demon Yizan, what exactly does this name represent? Miss Valentine does not know. Miss Valentine only knows that this demon Yizan is very scary, and the horror reaches where he is. Rock Studio also had to succumb to it and let itself come over to make peace. I am from Rock Studio. I came here to represent the sincerity of Rock Studio. I hope to coexist peacefully with Lord Yizan. Miss Valentine said cautiously to Yizan. Oh, is there any more? Yizan lazily held the back of his head, and that look of disdain made Miss Valentine's day not knowing how to continue. Miss Valentine's character is actually quite frivolous, like screaming and laughing. She is a woman who lacks connotation. She feels like a little sister with an empty stomach. Yizan doesn't really like such a woman, especially after Robin came out. Under the background of Robin's intellectual beauty, Miss Valentine's day seemed more impetuous. Also, what else? Miss Valentine looked at Yizan suspiciously, not knowing what Yizan meant. Chapter 90 _ So gentle with girls. If there is nothing else, just leave and tell Rockdale that I don't accept his sincerity. Yizan hugged Robin casually and said to Miss Valentine. Yizan's words surprised Miss Valentine's day. Gee, Rockdoll, what does this have to do with Crockdoll? You really want to be an enemy of Rock Studio? Miss Valentine asked in disbelief. I'm not trying to be an enemy of Rock Studio. Rock Studio doesn't have the qualifications, even if it's the K-Rock doll behind you. That's it. If it's not for a test, it's not who. I'm talking about all of you. It's all rubbish. Yizan's words finally made Miss Valentine's day completely dumbfounded. In the eyes of Miss Valentine's day, although Yizan is powerful, he is only one person after all, and except for the mysterious boss who he doesn't know who he is, the rest of the people are all devil fruit capable people. So many powerful. Isn't it easy for someone with the ability to deal with Yizan, a man who looks a little thin? Before Valentine's Day, although she wondered about the boss's attitude, she didn't think much about it. After all, it's not very wise to provoke the strong. Wait a minute, that's it, boss. Is it Rockdale, Crockdoll of the 7 Bukai Crockdoll? Miss Valentine's Day is extremely surprising. Okay, go tell Crocodile, I don't agree with his request for peace. Yizan waved his hand casually. And Yizan's words made Miss Valentine think of another order he received. If the demon Yizan does not accept the request for peace, test his strength. Thinking of this, Miss Valentine looked at Yizan with a stern look in her eyes. If you don't agree, don't blame me. Blame you? What? Do you still want to go to heaven? Squeeze you! Miss Valentine shouted. The umbrella in his hand moved, the light and heavy fruit ability activated, and flew directly into the sky. Oh, it really is the rhythm of the sky, and it's useless. Humph, don't be too arrogant. Even if you are the devil Yizan, you can't ignore me like this. 10,000 kilograms of Mount Higher on top. Boom. A huge roar sounded. With such a terrifying power, there was not even a single crack in the deck under Yizan's feet. Miss Valentine's pupils shrank dramatically. She was shocked to find that her strongest move was used by Yizan at will. A finger stuck. Impossible. Miss Valentine roared in shock and looked at Yizan. How could one finger resist such a terrifying weight? And the deck was not damaged. The roar just now has clearly informed Miss Valentine's Day that his previous impact was indeed with the ability of kilograms of fruit. What's going on? Miss Valentine looked at Yizan in shock and asked suspiciously. What's going on? It's very simple, Yizan said slowly. Your kilograms of fruit add to your own weight. Where do you need the deck to bear this weight? The muscles of one of my fingers can bear it. Yizan's words made Miss Valentine's eyes widen in shock. How is it possible that a person's fingers can bear tens of thousands of kilograms of weight? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. You must be a devil fruit person. Miss Valentine looked at Yi Xuandao. It is absolutely impossible for a person to withstand a weight of tens of thousands of kilograms so easily. Yizan waved his hand slowly. You don't know, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You go back and tell Crockdoll, let him wait well. Yizan's words made Miss Valentine's Day stunned again. She glanced at Yizan silently, and turned to leave without continuing to test. Brother Zan is actually showing mercy. Nami did not know when she came to Yizan's back and looked at Miss Valentine who was leaving. I will always be very gentle with girls. Yizan came to Nami's side, and he didn't know when he had already landed on Nami's waist. This is your tenderness. It's obviously lustful, okay. Nami felt Yizan's big hand touching her waist and moving downward, and twisted her body with a face full of yuhi, the soft and slippery skin, very tactile. Well, comfortable tilde. Yizan narrowed his eyes slightly, enjoying the feeling from his hand, very comfortable. While Yizan was enjoying these, K-Rockville also got the news from Miss Valentine's Day. Do you disagree? Well, disagreeing just fits my choice. K-Rockville didn't know that when he made this choice, he brought himself into the abyss. Navel sighed. As the news confirmed, Sengoku asked, holding the phone bug. Sure, it is indeed the actions of Crocodile in the Shichibukai. Hearing this, Sengoku took a deep breath and hung up the phone bug in his hand. What's wrong? Aokiji asked, looking at Sengoku's different expression. Sengoku shook his head slightly. This time, the demon Yizan is the first target, and the Shichibu Heike Rockdale is the second target. What? Everyone present looked at Sengoku in surprise. What's the matter? Did something happen? Kizaru remembered the call Sengoku had received earlier. Sengoku nodded and looked around. Crocodile is studying the historical text and wants to resurrect the ancient 3.5th generation weapon Pluto. Sengoku's words instantly stunned everyone. Breaching justice. Will be executed. A lieutenant general said angrily to Sengoku, I will kill Crocodile. The lieutenant general, Doberman, was a hawk in the Navy and a rare extremist in the Navy. Because of Akainu's death, he hated Yizan deeply and inherited the extreme justice of Akainu. Okay, Doberman, the matter of Crocodile will be left behind. Our first target is Yizan. It's a pity. Akainu completely disrupted my plan. Marshal Sengoku. Okay, I see. I don't blame Akainu. After all, Yizan has become a pirate. Chapter 91-Vivi's business. K-Rockville didn't know that his actions were detected by O'Hara's navy. If he knew about it, he would definitely not choose to be the enemy of Yizan, but now K-Rockville doesn't know about this. Yes. The fact that Sengoku and others went to the sphere of influence where K-Rockville is located is naturally impossible to hide from some powerful forces. Many forces are wondering why Sengoku and other high-ranking naval forces are aggressively going to the place where K-Rockville is located. If it is because of K-Rockville, it is not justified. K-Rockville is strong. If you really want to capture K-Rockville, the three generals are already an incomparably powerful lineup, and adding a Sengoku, it is absolutely impossible. Such a lineup will deal with a Shichibukai K-Rockdale a little too much. More people are waiting to see what all this is about. In this case, Yizan and others left Whiskey Mountain. On the Golden Melee, Yi Xuanmo stared at Luffy silently for 30 minutes, his face was very dangerous, and Luffy was frightened. Luffy, what did you say? Say it again. Being watched dangerously by Yizan, Luffy hid behind Zoro and Sanji in fear. He looked at Yizan pitifully, and whispered, I said, I will send Wei Wei away. Wei Wei, there are still very important things to do. Don't you like her? Why don't you even ask about her? Do you know who she is? Do you know about her? Luffy's words made Yizan's face even more dangerous. Brother Zan, don't do this. Luffy didn't do it on purpose. Kia looked at Yizan worriedly, for fear that Yizan would do something extreme. Yizan took a deep breath. I don't know the so-called person as you. After Yizan said this, he said to Nami, get ready, go at full speed, and rush to Alabasta. Alabasta. Luffy looked at Yizan suspiciously, his eyes widened in shock. Do you know about Wei Wei? Yizan's words really shocked Luffy. Wei Wei came to Luffy before, told about Wei Wei's own life experience, and then asked Luffy to help her leave, saying that she had something to do. Luffy always thought that Yizan didn't know about this poor girl, but now it seems that this is not the case. HMPH, the woman I like, don't bother you to interfere. This time, Kia said, forget it, and next time, I'll let you know why Huar is like Yuhi. Yizan squeezed his fist fiercely. As soon as the hand was released, a steel bead was pinched into an iron piece and slowly fell on the deck. Nami, are you alright? Nami looked at Yizan with a wry smile and said, Brother Zan, you know exactly what the Golden Melee is like. It's just an ordinary wooden boat, and it can't support such a fast speed. Nami said, spread out the nautical chart and said, and, next is the small flower garden. Shalwa, Yuan. Yizan frowned slightly after hearing Nami's words. Yizan himself came to the world of One Piece for a while. After such a period of understanding, Yizan also knew something about the world of One Piece. Small flower garden. Of course, Yizan is fine. However, Yizan's woman does not have such a strong body. If she goes to the small flower garden, once she gets sick, she needs to treat herself. Of course now, there is no problem with his treatment, but he doesn't want his woman to suffer. It can be seen from the original book that Nami's illness is almost instantaneous, her face is full of pain and pale. Is the little flower garden beautiful? Kia looked at the two strangely. Why do you all react this way? What do you say about Shalwa, Yuan? It's not good. Yizan turned to look at Luffy. I don't know what's going on. I want to beat you more and more. Hearing Yizan's words, Luffy shrank his neck and completely hid himself behind Zoro and Sanji. There was no way. It wasn't because the nervous Luffy was timid, it was because of the shadow that Yizan brought to everyone. Is too big. Okay. Robin looked at Yi Xuandao, complaining can't solve the problem now, let's think about how to wait on the island of Shalwa, Yuan until the recording pointer is finished. Yizan nodded. It can only be like this. Although I didn't engrave a space defense seal on Wei Wei, I also set up some small protection measures. For the time being, there won't be too many problems. It's all my fault for Luffy. Yizan glared at Luffy fiercely, and let Luffy draw circles in the corner of grievances. Can he blame himself for this? Didn't Wei Wei beg her head? Otherwise, how could I become like this? Luffy's grievance Yizan naturally did not take it to heart. With the sailing of the Golden Mary, everyone arrived at Shalwa Garden very soon. Huh. Everyone including Luffy stared blankly at the island in front of them. This is a small flower garden. Nami looked at Yizan, and then looked at the nautical chart in her hand. Brother Zan, although I know this is impossible, I still want to ask, are you sure your nautical chart is correct? Kia also stared blankly at the small flower garden in front of her. 347 This is a small flower garden. It's so big. Yizan waved his hand casually. I'm still saying that, if you don't know something, it doesn't mean it won't happen. This little flower garden is named after the giants. In the eyes of the giants, this island is indeed similar to a small flower garden-like existence. Quote. Yizan said and came behind Nami and Robin. Don't move. Bastard, what do you want to do? Nami and Robin both covered their bodies at the same time and looked at Yizan alertly. Don't move. Some viruses in the small flower garden are quite troublesome, and I don't want to treat such an extremely difficult disease. Yizan said, drawing his fingers on the two women's bodies. Following Yizan's sketch, a thin black seal appeared. Okay. Yizan patted the two women's butts, causing the two women to let out a soft exclamation. Then Yizan put his eyes on Kaya. Ah, do I want it too? Kia instantly looked at Yizan with a shy face, feeling so ashamed. Well, of course, except for my family, Marina, all of you, and Alvia too. Unless you don't go to the island. Yizan's words made Kia helpless, so she could only stand in front of Yizan obediently. Chapter 92-Stupid Luffy wants to run. Face was shy and Yuhi felt that Yizan's fingers were messing around her body, especially the eyes of the girls, which made her almost ashamed. However, only Yizan was the only man to see this beautiful scene. Luffy, Sanji, Zoro and Usopp turned their heads at the beginning, and they didn't dare to be stupid at this time. Yizan bullied Kia while painting Kia's seal against insects. Soon, his hand stopped on Kia's fierceness. Oh, Kia's figure is getting better and better. Yizan sighed, with a wicked smile on the corner of his mouth. That wicked smile and hot eyes made Kia instantly soft in Yizan's arms. Brother Zan, don't do this. Okay, I know, don't worry, there's no problem. Brother Zan, are you ready? I'm going to the island. A surge of jealousy followed Nami's words. All right. Yizan could only help Kia helplessly and prepare to disembark. Don't we need it? Usopp looked at Yizan and asked. Theoretically you need it, but I don't want to touch the man's body, so you stay on the boat. Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile, and the shriveled smile told everyone, Yizan-zan did it on purpose, and deliberately kept everyone on the boat. You must know that these people are very adventurous. Now that there is such a fun island, if they are not allowed to go up, the torture is more than Yizan digging a hole and waiting for others. Even more painful. Let's go. Following Yizan's words, Yizan and the others set down the golden melee under the eager eyes of Luffy and the others. No, Luffy looked at Yizan and the others pitifully, but found that Yizan and the others left without looking back. What to do? Usopp looked at Sanji and Zoro. Are we really going to stay on the boat? No. Sanji and Zoro shook their heads instantly. While Usopp was about to say something, Sanji and Zoro pointed to one side. Ah, Luffy, you can't go to the island. Usopp yelled, but Luffy didn't know when he got off the boat, and he had already set foot in the small flower garden. I don't want to stay on the boat, it's not fun. Luffy said and left. Sanji and Zoro followed closely behind. In place, Usopp cried and said, I'm not going, I'd better stay here. Small flower garden, Yizan and the girls visited. As for Luffy, he encountered Mr. 5 Inches, Miss Valentine, and Mr. 3 Inches. After a lot of battles, Luffy still wins in the end. The top of a mountain in Shalwa Garden, Yizan and others were having a picnic happily. Brother Zan, why don't you go down and help? Kia looked at Yizan who was yawning at the side, wondering why Yizan had been watching Luffy and everyone in Barrock's studio fighting. But he didn't make a move. You must know that Luffy encountered a life and death crisis a few times. Lazy. Yizan said lazily, lying on the grass. Kia was stunned for a moment, but also a little helpless. Now Kia finally knows why Nami and Robin are helpless about Yizan's performance all day long. Kia is very sure that Yizan's reason is definitely not as simple as lazy, but it is precisely because it is not simple that Yizan is too lazy to explain. Kia was helpless and could only focus on Robin. I don't know either, but I should know some of the general reasons. This should be what Big Brother Zan wants Luffy to do, but I don't quite understand what Big Brother Zan wants Luffy to do. Robin's words made Yizan interject, I want Luffy to overthrow the world government. Huh? All the girls looked at Yizan in surprise. Let Luffy overthrow the world government. Well, there are many reasons for it. Of course, the most critical reason is that the world government will not let me go, so I had to overthrow and rebuild. Yizan's willful words left the girls speechless. What does it mean to have to overthrow and rebuild? Is that the world government? It is the collective government of most of the countries in the entire One Piece world, and behind it stands a series of terrifying strengths such as the Navy Tianlongren. But now, what Yizan said was like building a house, tearing it down and rebuilding. How could it be that simple? Okay, don't pursue this matter. What about the record pointer? Is it all right? Yizan said slowly. Not yet, I don't know what's going on. The recording pointer has never moved. Nami's words made Yizan suddenly remember that the magnetic field of the small flower garden is unusual. If you want to record, you need to stay in the small flower garden for a long time. A period of time. I'll go, record the pointer for me, I'll let the time. Halfway through Yizan's words, a wicked smile suddenly appeared on the corner of his mouth. It seems, no need. What's wrong? Nami looked at Yizan strangely, not knowing what happened. Look there. Yizan pointed to the place where Luffy was. Because Luffy defeated the killer of Barrock Studio, and also successfully got the record pointer from the killer. Sanji, Zoro, quick, get back to the boat, we have to set off immediately, and finally get rid of that demon. Let's go straight, is it really okay? Zoro looked at Luffy and said, none of us can sail, can ships without sailors sail? Of course, Luffy yelled, besides, I'll definitely let Nami on board. Nice job Luffy. Sanji also looked at the record pointer in Luffy's hand, and was extremely satisfied with what Luffy did. Awesome. I can finally get rid of Yi-Zan. Everyone shouted. Amazing. Come back to the boat. Everyone cheered excitedly and ran back to the Golden Mary. Soon, the Golden Mary slowly set sail. Oh. Let's have a party. Have a banquet, have a banquet. Yes, let's have a banquet together. A joking voice sounded. It's good to talk, good to talk. Ha. Luffy suddenly widened his eyes and looked at the place where the voice came from, but saw Yi-Zan with a group of women looking at him with a half-smile. That, Yi-Zan, listen to me. Luffy looked left and right to see if Zoro, Sanji and others had any good excuses, but Sanji, Zoro and Usopp stood there blankly, already being taken by Yi-Zan, who appeared suddenly, was stunned. Chapter 93_Espionage Information. Have you come up with an excuse? Not yet. No, I'm not an excuse. Luffy hurriedly defended. And Yi-Zan shook his head. Well, since you don't like me following, then I'll leave first. Yi-Zan said. Without waiting for Luffy and others to react, he took the girls and left Luffy's ship. Luffy. Usopp looked at Luffy. To be honest, Usopp is a little unhappy now. Kia has always been Usopp's dream lover, although Usopp is now because of Yi-Zan's. The reason is that I know what could happen to me with Kia, but I can watch it by my side, but now Yi-Zan is leaving with Kia, but it is a declaration that Usopp has completely cut off his thoughts. Luffy also pouted. Let's go, why do you have to take Nami with you? Nami-chan. Robin-san. Sanji watched Yi-Zan take the girls away, feeling that he was about to cry. Okay, Sanji, they're gone, and me. Luffy said to Sanji. On the other hand, Robin looked at Yi-Zan strangely. Brother Zan, are you really leaving? Isn't this a big deal? Yi-Zan shook his head. There's something wrong with Alabasta. I just got the news that the Navy headquarters has been around the point for reinforcements and has been monitoring O'Hara. Over the years, although Yi-Zan has been traveling around the world lazily, he has casually gathered many forces for his own use. Of course, Yi-Zan does not despise any combat power, but if he is an intelligence-type person, he is still willing to subdue him. Of O'Hara. Robin was shocked, and hurriedly looked at Yi-Zan. Has something happened to O'Hara? O'Hara has always been a taboo since I shot. No one dares to shoot O'Hara at will. In order to prevent my anger, the Navy headquarters did not directly shoot O'Hara, but they kept invading O'Hara. Hala, slowly take O'Hara into the hands of the Navy headquarters. Yi-Zan took a deep breath. The whole world doesn't know that the Navy headquarters has completely controlled O'Hara. Many people who don't know who want to study the historical text will pass through O'Hara, while the Navy headquarters rely on O'Hara. Carry out counter-tracing to find out who is still studying the historical text, and unfortunately, Crocodile is studying the historical text, and is still studying something that must not be studied, recording the historical text of the ancient weapon Hades. Yi-Zan's words calmed Robin. Then why is O'Hara doing now? Yi-Zan shook his head. Not very good. The seagull just now was the contact information between the spy and me. They sent information saying that O'Hara's scholars were secretly executed by the Navy headquarters for disobeying the Navy headquarters. Now O'Hara can only be regarded as a bait. Yi-Zan looked at Robin apologetically. Sorry, I didn't protect O'Hara. Robin shook his head. After living with Yi-Zan for so long, Robin's feelings for O'Hara are not as strong as in the original book. Robin thought he would cry after hearing the news, but, as a result, after hearing the news, he felt extremely calm, to a level he couldn't believe. Compared to me, maybe my mother will be sad. Then Brother Zan, are we going to O'Hara now? Robin looked at Yi-Zan. If Brother Zahn is for me, then there's no need, I am very interested in O'Hara. Ra also doesn't have too deep feelings. Yi-zan approached Robin with pity. It's not just O'Hara's problem. Now, because the Navy headquarters knows that the sand crocodile Crocodile is studying the historical text of the ancient weapon Pluto and hopes to resurrect Pluto, most of the Navy's senior officers, including the 3 generals of Sengoku, have been dispatched. The battle strength is not only for Crocodile, but also seems to know our whereabouts. Yi-zan's eyes flickered slightly. In this chaotic situation, I don't want Wei Wei to be involved casually. This kind of Uzumaki is not something she can participate in casually. Quote. Yi-zan's words left all the women silent. Brother Zahn, are we weak? Nami and Robin both looked at Yi-zan and asked in a low voice. It's not that you are too weak, it's that your opponent is too strong. Yi-zan said lightly, don't forget, your opponent is the highest-end combat power of the Navy headquarters, including the marshals and generals. If you can ignore these combat powers, then your strength is really top-notch, so don't feel that your combat power is weak. Yi-zan's words are definitely not consolation. Nami's current research on meteorology is at its peak. In addition to the many scrolls that Yi-zan himself gave to Nami, it can be said that Nami's combat power is definitely not weak, and Robin has become a very powerful gymnast. It can be said that if Nami and Robin really make a move now, at least they are at the level of a brigadier admiral, and even if they have a good opportunity, they can even exert the strength of a lieutenant admiral. After hearing Yi-zan's words, the girls didn't bother about this matter. Yi-zan went to Alabasta, and Luffy had a very difficult situation. Sauron, Sanji, are you all right? Luffy looked at Sanji and Zoro anxiously and asked. But Zoro and Sanji couldn't answer Luffy because both of them were in a coma with a high fever. And at this time, Luffy remembered what Yi-zan had warned him and others before entering the small flower garden. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Luffy cried out in pain, speaking to Usopp. Usopp, haven't you found any inhabited islands yet? I don't know what's going on. I don't know much about sailing. Usopp also said to Luffy, extremely aggrieved. Look at you, why do you have to get along with Yi-zan? Usopp's words made Luffy feel a little regretful. When Yi-zan was on the boat, Luffy didn't think sailing was such a difficult thing. All Luffy needed was to fight, and fight, but Yi-zan just left. Not long after, all kinds of sudden situations made Luffy almost annoyed to death, and he couldn't help but wonder what the hell was going on. Could it be that Yi-zan solved everything in advance? Luffy guessed, and the regret in his heart was even deeper. When Luffy regrets it. Luffy, look, there's an island ahead. Chapter 94-Hancock arrives. The island that Luffy saw was naturally Drum Island. Sanji and Zoro were bitten by poisonous insects in the small flower garden, and he had to take them to a doctor for treatment. Sanji, Zoro, wait, I'll find a doctor for you. Under the guidance of Dalton, the guard captain of Drum Island, Luffy took Sanji and Zoro to find the only doctor in the country, the witch who lives on the top of the mountain. In order to buy time, Luffy decided to carry the two go up the mountain to find the doctor, Dr. Gerva. In the midst of the wind and snow, Luffy went to the top of the mountain and headed towards the top of the mountain where Dr. Gerva was. In a daze, Sanji and Zoro saw Luffy's serious face. The two comatose suddenly felt that Luffy, who had always been an idiot, was full of charm at this moment. The most important reason why the hero saves Beauty is full of romance and dog blood is because human beings have a different feeling for those who save themselves when their lives are threatened. Originally, Sanji and Zoro should be very moved when he saw Luffy saving himself so seriously, and the brotherhood will definitely rise. But now, because of Yi-zan's guidance, Sanji and Zoro have a basic feeling for Luffy, and this basic feeling has changed in this moment of life and death. In short, in a word, the three of them were really bent by Yi-zan abruptly. Yi-zan didn't know that the hole he dug unintentionally was filled by the three of Luffy very well, because at this moment, Yi-zan was looking at the peerless beauty in front of him with a puzzled face. Why did you come here? The Navy has summoned Chiwahai to come to Crocodile's site to intercept you. Hancock hugged Yizan's waist gently, causing Yizan to be stunned for a moment. Yizan had always thought that the Navy wanted to deal with the sand crocodile, and he was still wondering why the Navy dispatched so many high-end combat power to deal with the sand crocodile. Now that I think about it, it should be when Akainu died, and the top Navy leaders were ready to deal with themselves. Tisk tisk, people say that eating one bite makes one wiser. Why do these people in the Navy headquarters remember to eat and not to fight? Yizan shook his head slightly, hugged Hancock, and felt Hancock's softness. His body squinted his eyes comfortably and said, "You, just tell me this on the phone. Why did you come here by yourself?" Hancock shook his head. "I have one more thing to ask you." As Hancock said, he twisted his body to make his body more comfortable and stayed in Yizan's arms, feeling Yizan's strong arms, looking at Yizan with a pretty face, and slowly said, "This time, the summoning order of Chiwahai is still relatively strong. According to the Navy headquarters, if you really do not obey the summoning order this time, you will be removed from the Chiwahai. I will come and ask Brother Zan now." Meaning. Hancock's words made Yizan shrug his shoulders casually. "It doesn't matter, you can do it yourself. What are your thoughts?" "My thinking is, I don't want to be this Chiwahai now. I don't want to do it. It's too restricted. A small admiral of the Navy headquarters dares to make irresponsible remarks in front of me," Hancock said, with a proud look on his face. Because of Yizan's intervention, the current Hancock has not really experienced the slave life of the Tianlong people, and now Yizan has become the real queen of Nine Snake Island. The arrogance in his heart can be said. Except for Yizan, there are really not many people who can make Hancock admire. "Okay, then, let's give up the name of Chiwahai," Yizan said casually. After hearing Yizan's words, Hancock twisted his body again, and looked at Yizan's hands around his ass, and Yuhi dizzy instantly appeared on his cheeks. "Brother Zan, after I give up Chiwahai, it is estimated that there will be changes in the Navy and the Fourth Emperor." "It doesn't matter, just kill it," Yizan said casually to Hancock. Hearing Yizan's words, Hancock's eyes widened dumbfoundedly. "Really? The Navy doesn't care, but the four emperors, if they kill them, will be the enemy of the four emperors." "It's an enemy, it's an enemy." Yizan waved his hand and kissed Hancock on the cheek. "I know you are mine, and I dare to stretch out my hand. It doesn't matter if you chop off your claws, you are mine. Baby wife." "Bah, who is your wife?" He. Hancock blinked mischievously, causing Yizan to rub her hair helplessly. "You." He, Brother Zan, then I'll go first, remember I'm waiting for you." Hancock stood on tiptoe and gently pouted Yizan's lips. She was fully grown and matured with no one the charm of blocking. Under this kind of temptation, even Yizan couldn't stand it. After feeling little Yizan against his body, Hancock laughed proudly. Deliberately when Yizan was blazing with flames pushing Yizan away, he turned and left. "Humph." Yizan pouted angrily, and looked helplessly at the flames. He was provoked. This little goblin should find a time to deal with her. Hancock left with the 9 snake pirates. Yizan's eyes still stayed on Hancock's perfect back. Looking at Yizan's saliva, Nami next to him took the initiative to lean up with a smirk. He. "Brother Zan, don't do this. By the way, speaking of this, Brother Zan, are you a virgin?" Nami smirked, deliberately provoking Yizan with words. "Humph. What do you say? If you don't fight for 3 days, you won't know how powerful your husband Kun is." Yizan slapped Nami's butt fiercely, causing Nami to whisper softly, but he didn't dare to continue. Provoked Yizan. "Brother Zan, what are we going to do next? Are we still heading towards Alabasta?" Robin looked at Yizan and asked. Yizan thought for a moment and nodded. "This time, go to Alabasta." There was a firm look in Yizan's eyes. "This time, I want to make the Navy headquarters completely hurt. I have destroyed the Navy headquarters twice, and I don't have a long memory, so this time, I will kill you." "Murder?" Robin looked at Yizan strangely. "Yes, killing." Yizan pursed his lips. "Whether it's a general, a marshal, or a brigadier general, including Chiwahai, whoever dares to do something to me, kill me if they can. Not just me, Nami, Robin, you two also practice. Marina protects Kia and Alvia. Even if there is an accident, I have engraved the most advanced defensive sealing technique on you, and I can rescue you as soon as possible. Quote. Chapter 95_Preparations for Alabasta. Yizan did not teleport to Alabasta with space, but built a ship with Mokuden wood style. He did not intend to conceal his whereabouts and slowly moved towards Alabasta. And Yizan's behavior made the Navy even more cautious. After all, Yizan's actions did not seem to be the result of his actions. Yizan brought his woman on a boat alone. Not the Straw Hat Pirates. Sengoku looked a little strange at the information in his hands. He always thought that Yizan was a member of the Straw Hat Pirates, but why is he acting alone now? Could it be that the Straw Hat Pirates are too weak? Yizan deliberately acted alone. Kizaru guessed. Qingzi shook his head. No, compared to this, I believe that Yizan doesn't take us seriously. After all, we can clearly see his pride in the previous contacts. Lieutenant General Doberman said angrily, no matter what he thinks, I must kill him this time. Doberman's words were directly ignored by everyone. Doberman inherited the will of Akainu, and most of the time, he was irrational, so that everyone has now ignored Doberman's opinions. And the appearance of everyone made Doberman extremely angry. He was getting more and more extreme because of Akainu's death, but now it has become more extreme because of everyone's ignorance. Doberman's appearance made everyone feel a little helpless, but there was nothing he could do. He was drawn by Akainu alone. When he was a third-class soldier, he followed Akainu to fight. At that time, Akainu was only a brigadier general. He worships Akainu, and Akainu also recognizes him. The relationship between the two is very good, but now, Akainu is dead. Hopefully by then, Doberman will come out of this shadow. Everyone, including Sengoku, looked at Doberman like this, and they all thought invariably. Soon, the Navy headquarters came to Alabasta, where Sand Crocodile is located. After meeting with Sand Crocodile, they began to make arrangements. Although everyone knew that these arrangements had no effect, it was better than nothing. Sengoku and others were actively preparing for the battle, and Yizan used a boat made by Mokuden, wood style, to slowly stop at the port of a town in Alabasta. This is Alabasta. Kia stared blankly at the devastated Alabasta. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Can you survive here? Nami looked at the sky steadily, and after hearing Kia's words, she said, there's something wrong with the sky here. Not right. Nami nodded. According to the previous climate, this place shouldn't be so devastated. This is normal. This is the sand crocodile's territory. He is a sand crocodile. He naturally hopes that the surrounding environment is a desert, but this is the place that the sand crocodile can't give up. Therefore, the sand crocodile uses dancing powder to make the whole the country has become like this, and by the way, the king's rule has been overthrown. Yizan said casually, and his words shocked all the girls. How can there be such a person? For his own selfish desires, the entire country has been transformed into this kind of appearance. Keiya looked at all this in a daze. Isn't this normal? Yizan looked around silently. As the saying goes, when a general becomes famous, his bones are dead, and every strong man is full of bones. Yizan's words made Robin look at Yizan. Brother Zan, are you also full of bones behind you? No. Yizan shook his head and looked at the crowd. Behind me, hell stands. Yizan's quiet appearance made all the girls look at Yizan in disbelief. All the girls couldn't imagine that Yizan, a man who looked thin, gentle and a little rascal, actually had hell standing behind him. Arriving in Alabasta, Yizan walked towards the capital with his daughters. On the other side, Luffy finally found Drum Island and found the doctor, Dr. Guliva. Dr. Gerva is a top doctor, and it took a day to cure Zoro and Sanji. And in this short day, Luffy became familiar with Chopper the reindeer, and the most important thing is that Luffy, Zoro and Sanji have experienced this catastrophe of life and death, and finally opened the era of love. If the base situation is just like this, it has not heated up, but the next moment, Luffy got the request of the people of Drum Island, because the former king of Drum Island, Valbo, who can swallow the fruit, rules Drum Island again. Luffy, Sanji Zoro, after seeing the brutality of the fruit-tuning ability Valbo and hearing what Dr. Gerva told, began to resist the rule of the swallowing fruit ability Valbo. For a time, Luffy and Sanji Zoro's love is improving at an extremely fast speed. Luffy and others fought on Drum Island, Alabasta. Yizan took the girls to the capital. As the largest force in the world, how could the actions of the Navy be concealed from the eyes of spies? The dispatch of all high-end combat power, including Sengoku, spread to all major forces as early as the first time, and soon, countless sights again they gathered in Alabasta, but this time, these forces did not intend to come to Alabasta. They were afraid that Yizan would come to another meteor and bring disaster to himself and others. Because of Yizan's strength, these forces didn't want to provoke Yizan. They just sent some people to show their affection to Yizan. They knew that even if Yizan failed, it didn't matter. It is also normal, and once Yizan 4.3 succeeds, his own favor will be extremely important. Therefore, this time the battle started slowly in peace, but this kind of peace was only superficial peace, and there were too many eyes watching here all the time. Sengoku, this time, what do you mean? Yizan held a calm look in his arms. If the world government and the Navy really wanted to avenge Akainu, he wouldn't mind continuing to kill. As you see it, Sengoku looked at Yizan with a serious face, and sighed softly in his heart. If Akainu didn't die, his soft-hearted policy might have worked for Yizan. If Yizan is not hostile to each other, the Navy can concentrate all its energy on dealing with the pirates. Chapter 96-Battle with the Navy. Of course, only Yizan in the whole world has the qualification to let Sengoku take care of his tenderness. If it hadn't been against Yizan these few times, who would have thought that such a thin body like Yizan did not look strong at all? There was actually something in it. Such a powerful force. I think it's better for you to make it clear, otherwise, once something is done, it will be too late for you to regret it. Yizan said lightly, without the slightest intention to give Sengoku the marshal's face. If he wants to tear his face, he doesn't mind a slaughter. Since you're going to say it so straightforwardly, then I'll tell you, this time, we want you to surrender and be judged by the Navy. If you don't admit defeat, don't blame us for doing some irrational things. Sengoku said in a condensed voice, and as soon as he finished speaking, all the navies raised their weapons. Oh, irrational. Like, Yizan tilted his head and looked at Sengoku, with a powerful and mysterious aura permeating his body. A holy white robe appeared on Yizan's body. There were many black strips scattered on the white robe, and the black tomo was evenly arranged at the neckline. It's like this again, Sengoku said as he watched Yizan warily. Okay, let's make a pre-war declaration first. Give me face, you all commit suicide, Yizan said to the crowd. Following Yizan's words, a golden force field enveloped. Don't listen to him, Lieutenant General Doberman shouted. Everyone unite, we can definitely win. Doberman's roar really played a role. The captain and brigadier general, who were a little shaken, once again firmed their eyes and broke free from the pressure of the face fruit. Not bad. Seeing the golden force field turn into Yuhi color, Yizan's mouth twitched into a smile. In Yizan's eyes, the people in front of him were skill books and ingots. It seems that you are really courting death this time. Yizan turned his head and walked slowly. I'll come first. A brigadier general who was not afraid of tigers attacked Yizan. On the other hand, Yizan didn't react, didn't dodge or evade, and didn't have any intention of making a move, so he went towards everyone in the Navy. Your head is mine, the brigadier general shouted, the rich armament haki covering the weapon, but the next second, an arm suddenly grew out of his shoulder and twisted suddenly. The brigadier general did not check. I didn't have time to switch domineering and iron defense, but my arm was twisted directly. Brother Zahn can't be disturbed. Robin's voice sounded elegant and gentle, and the snow-white pink arms crossed his chest, telling everyone Robin's strength. I didn't expect the women under him to be so powerful. Sengoku looked at Robin and sighed. Kill them. Doberman fixedly looked at the woman beside Yizan with a cold look in his eyes. Seeing Doberman's appearance, Sengoku could only sigh helplessly. Now, it doesn't make any sense to keep his hands. Come on together. Buddha fruit. Sengoku took the first shot, and behind him, Kizaru and Aokiji also followed. As for Doberman, he rushed to Robin at the moment when Sengoku was about to shoot. Although he wanted to avenge the Akainu, he was not stupid, and he killed Yizan's woman in his twisted heart. Killing Yizan is even better. Although I'm sorry, but you are too strong, we are still going to fight more and less. The yellow monkey turned into a light and appeared behind Yizan, with terrifying energy condensed on his toes. Oh, with more and less, this can be. Well, but, with more and less. Are you sure you are the one with more? Yizan's mouth evoked an arrogant smile. That is not strong. The figure stood upright, arrogantly as if it could never be defeated. So many people admired Yizan, and admired his courage and strength in the face of such an enemy. Who's the one with the most? Huang Yuan was a little puzzled by Yizan's words. Huang Yuan was puzzled. The next second, Yizan's figure suddenly divided into two, and the two divided into four. Soon, Yizan's figure became 8. No, separate 8 clones to play with you. Many Yizan said in unison. At the same time, Doberman, who was rushing towards Robin, had a cruel smile on the corner of his mouth. As a lieutenant general without devil fruit, his swordsmanship and physical skills had already been cultivated to an extremely strong level. Robin is not his opponent at all. Successful. Success. At that moment, a shadow clone of Yizan blocked Doberman's face. Look at the way you hate me. Akainu's subordinate. A dog's dog, it should look like a dog. Don't act like a dog all day long. It's annoying. Yizan raised his right hand and grabbed Daobo. Man's weapon, armament. Haki didn't know when it had covered Yizan's palm. You can die, Yizan said lightly, and at that moment, several strange waves of twisted air appeared in Yizan's hand. Be careful. A yellow light appeared, and both hands were already grasping Yizan's arm. Glittering fruit. But, is it interesting for you to deal with my clone as a future? Yizan said while looking at Kizaru. Of course it's interesting. Kizaru's body appeared, and the energy group on his toes had condensed to the extreme. Destroy your clone first. Destroyed. I'm sorry, your fruit. I want it, Yizan said. The face fruit was activated, and a space door suddenly appeared behind the yellow monkey. Opening the space door, Yizan once again set his sights on 590 Kizaru. As for Doberman, he was kicked away by Yizan long ago. I don't know if your light speed is fast, or my space is fast. The corner of Yizan's mouth cracked with an evil smile, and that smile made Kazuna in a trance, and Yizan's body actually teleported over. What is that? Huang Yuan fixedly looked at the seal scroll in Yizan's body. Although he didn't know what it was definitely not a simple thing. Lieutenant General Mad Dog, I'll take the glittering fruit. Yizan looked at Kizaru and instructed Shadow Clone to let his clone deal with Doberman. Huang Yuan was about to speak, but Yizan had already disappeared quickly. Almost instantly, Kizaru's body turned into a flash of light and quickly left the place. On the spot, Yizan also appeared at the same time. After glancing at Kizaru, he launched the Hiraishin technique again, and quickly attacked towards Kizaru. In this way, it didn't take long for the entire battlefield to be filled with the two figures. The dazzling shadow made the slightly weaker members of the entire battlefield have to withdraw from the battlefield. When everyone didn't know what was going on, a voice sounded slowly. Caught you. With the sound of this voice, the shadows of the entire battlefield slowly boiled down to two people, Kizaru, Yizan. Chapter 97-Tina is angry. This voice is so indifferent, even compared to the entire battlefield, it is indistinguishable. But it was just such a voice that caught everyone's attention, because this voice announced the end of the direct speed confrontation between Kizaru and Yizan. With everyone's gaze, Yizan's mysterious and powerful 6 paths mode is on, and the purple-black domineering in his hand is attached. It turns out that light still can't cross space. Yizan tilted his head and looked at Kizaru. When Kizaru widened his eyes in horror and prepared to die generously. Feather prison. Countless black iron bars bound Yizan. When Yizan was about to break free, he saw the owner of this iron bar, a beautiful woman with long pink hair and sunglasses on her head. In an instant, Yizan's eyes widened, and the corner of his mouth was a slap in the face. Wow, beauty! Yizan teleported directly to the beauty's side, and was actually on the battlefield, wanting to shake hands with the beauty. Hello, beauty, my name is Yizan. Tina knows. Yes, this woman is Tina. Looking at the chains on Yizan's body, Tina was a little puzzled. She felt very clearly that she had already locked Yizan, but when Yizan came to her side, her chains were instantly freed. Ah, did you say the chain? I'm sorry, I accidentally broke free just now, or would you try to lock it again? Yizan stretched out his hands and looked at Tina embarrassedly. You're embarrassed. Nami, who was fighting hard, yelled. Dad is a bastard. Marina, who was protecting Nami, puffed out her cheeks angrily, and decided that after the battle was over, she would blow up these shadow clone with one punch, and let out a breath of resentment. Robin covered his mouth with a chuckle and said, Brother Zan's lecherous problem has been committed again. The girls complained. Here, Tina looked at Yizan angrily. She was not embarrassed, but directly activated the ability of her fence fruit to lock Yizan. Quote. Tina locked Yizan's body so easily, which made Sengoku, who was fighting Yizan's shadow clone, a little stunned. He only felt that all his efforts were in vain. At this time, Sengoku noticed that the navy who was attacked by Yizan's 8 clones were all men, and only the beauties in the navy were not accompanied by any clones. Even if these beauties intervened in the battle, those clones were also rarely will be shot against beautiful women. Man, how can you be so lustful? Yizan's lust directly refreshed everyone's perception of Yizan. Ah, don't you know that I pity Shangshiyu? Yizan said as he looked at the stunned crowd. Yizan's words directly touched the hearts of many beauties. Women are all sensual animals, and beauties are no exception. Yizan's performance made many beauties a little bit crazy. This is a battle. Can you be more serious? Tina yelled at Yizan. Seriously, I'm serious. Yizan looked at Tina and said very seriously. However, Yizan's hand had slipped through Tina's olive fruit and touched Tina's butt. Wow, it's big and round. It's really good. Ass was touched, causing Tina to instantly look ashamed. Yuhi, she yelled at Yizan angrily, this is your seriousness. Yes. If you don't believe me, look at my expression, what do you see? Seriously, Yizan really said very seriously. It's just that the strange contrast between action and language is awkward. Don't do this, we're fighting. Tina watched Yizan's palm fruit launch again, but compared to the previous swift attack, this time's attack seemed soft. Ah, I'm hurt. Yizan pretended to cover his heart. You actually hit me. My heart is broken, I don't believe you touch. Yizan didn't wait for Tina to react, and directly held Tina's little hand and pressed his heart. Don't be like that, Tina is shy. Yizan looked at Tina's shy expression on Yuhi's face, and felt extremely proud in his heart. It seemed that his charm was as strong as ever. Fight against Tina made everyone speechless. What kind of fight is this there? It's clearly a molestation, okay. Get rid of being so shy, okay. This is a battlefield, Boom. A huge roar reminded everyone that this was still a battlefield. Yizan turned his head and happened to see a shadow clone disappear, and the clone was surrounded by Sengoku and Chingzi, but the two worked together to kill a clone. Wow, that's great. Yizan clapped his hands and praised. But, I forgot to tell you, where are these avatars? How many more do I have? Yizan said, and a new avatar came out of his back. Come on. Yizan clenched his fist with one hand on his face and said maliciously to Sengoku and the others, if you win, you will have a lollipop. We are not children. Sengoku yelled at Yizan, and was about to attack Yizan's body, but before it was activated, he was blocked by two clones. Come back. With the words of the clone, Sengoku fell into a hard fight again. Okay, Tina, we don't need to worry about them, we are contacting the battle. Your blow just now was really too powerful. It made me feel uncomfortable. Yizan looked at Tina with a hint of evil on the corner of his mouth. The evil smile made Tina look ashamed and Yuhi looked away. Yizan's appearance finally made Sengoku unable to bear it any longer. First hit the main body. After hitting the main body, these avatars should disappear. He is too lustful, the beauties of the Navy, I am very sorry, but... It's up to you, Sengoku said with enthusiasm, but what about those words? The more you listen, the more awkward. Hey, the bald guy with his head full of buns was beaten. Who are you calling lecherous? What are you looking at? What about you? Sengoku looked left and right, and finally pointed at himself blankly, and then Yizan affirmed that he was the one who was called, the bald man who was beaten and covered his head. In an instant, the crit hit 10,000 points of damage, causing Sengoku to kneel directly. It was obviously a very powerful and tall phantom beast in the form of a giant Buddha, right? How did he become a bald man with a beating head full of buns? Well, although this metaphor is also very vivid, the image is a ghost. Go, Sengoku yelled. And with Sengoku's words, many girls who have been fighting all the time have to participate in the battle. A female giant from the Navy headquarters came to Yizan and punched Yizan, making a lot of noise, but how did Yizan think that this female giant didn't mean to hit him at all? Chapter 98 CP0_. Bah! The huge fist landed heavily on Yizan's body. But... Blink. Yizan blinked his eyes and looked at the owner of the huge fist, the female giant of the Navy headquarters. The mighty fist, as Yizan expected, had no attack power. Hi, hello beauty. Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile, looking at this beautiful giantess and beckoning. Yuhi flashed on the fair-skinned face of the giantess, making her beautiful face even more beautiful. In the world of One Piece, I don't think about the era that Yizan experienced before. As long as she is a woman, she can be called a beauty. In One Piece, a beautiful woman is a real beauty, especially at the command of Sengoku. On such important occasions, the female giant dares to take action, is to dare to admit that he is a beauty, and his appearance is naturally good. However, Yizan forgot a very important thing: women are jealous. Although Yizan did a good job in dealing with his harem relationship, Tina and the giantess. Tina is angry, Tina wants to hit you. Tina pouted angrily, and 387 attacked Yizan directly. No way, the giantess said directly, but after speaking, she knew that she shouldn't have said this sentence, and hurriedly remedied, we want to come together. Having said that, the female giant also punched, but why does Yizan feel that the female giant's fist is deliberately going to hit Tina's attack? You guys will make me very distressed. Yizan stood still and said pretendingly. And Sengoku frowned tightly. Sengoku prepared as much high-end combat power as possible before the war, but now it seems that it is not as fast and effective as a beauty pageant. But, at this point, Sengoku didn't want to back down. We can only dispatch them. Sengoku sighed slightly and looked around. Assemble. Sengoku said aloud. Aokiji was taken aback by Sengoku's order, and then he sighed slightly. Are you going to dispatch them? Yes. Sengoku looked at the surrounding battlefield. His eyes flashed this strange light. Sengoku himself had deduced the scene of this battle countless times before. However, Sengoku still didn't expect the result to be like this. It seems that every time he is hostile to Yizan, Yizan will have all kinds of powerful and novel abilities to resist his attack. With so many clones, the power is still so powerful, and the entire battlefield has fallen into an extremely passive situation. You dispatched them in such a hurry. Kizaru also came to Sengoku's side, and said in surprise, Yizan's body hasn't used up his power yet. I can't wait any longer. the situation is already very bad. If I wait any longer, I'm worried that there will be a problem with Shichibukai. Sengoku looked into the distance. Crocodile, Bartholomew, and Doflamingo were accompanying the navy fought against one of them, Yizan's shadow clone, but looking at their attacking posture, it was obvious that they were not doing enough work. The so-called, hearing is false, seeing is believing, although these few people have heard of Yizan's name, but when they are really on the battlefield, they realize that Yizan is really too strong. Shichibukai itself is a big pirate. These pirates are rebellious because of the needs of the navy. Now participating in this level of war, everyone seems to be working hard. In fact, Sengoku knows very well. These Chiwahai didn't even use half of their strength, they were all watching their own side. If there was a problem, it was estimated that they would flee away immediately. That's why I said that all the Chiwahai should be abolished. Doberman said coldly. Doberman's words were not recognized by everyone. Although Chiwahai did not have one heart with the navy, after all, Chiwahai and the navy were just transactions. How could it be possible to work hard for the navy? Besides, even if each of the Chiwahai only has a superficial appearance, with less than half of the strength, there is no problem with the ordinary pirates if the strength of the Chiwahai itself is there. Therefore, Doberman's words still go unheeded. Are they all assembled? Sengoku asked, looking at everyone around him. It's almost all assembled. Kizaru nodded in reply, and then Sengoku took out a phone bug. Hello. Soon the phone bug was connected. Sengoku said to the phone bug with a dignified face, "That's it." Well, don't worry, we'll be over soon. With the phone bug's words, the phone bug was hung up. Yizan saw Sengoku's behavior in his eyes. The clone that was chasing after everyone was released by Yizan. It looks like a new person is coming. I don't know who was called by Sengoku. I hope some powerful people will come. Yizan thought about this, but he was not slow in his hands, and he was with Tina and the girl. The giant teased. Ha! Drink! Yizan and Tina shouted, but their fists felt soft no matter how they looked at it, and what was even more speechless was that Yizan's attack touched Tina's body intentionally or unintentionally. Na's cheeks grew shy. Yizan was playing casually, and at the same time, several strange figures appeared on the battlefield. He was dressed in white, with all kinds of grotesque masks and oil paint on his face, which made it difficult to see the true colors. Even so, everyone present instantly recognized the identities of these people. Because the identities of these people are simply too obvious. Seeing the sudden appearance of naval combat power, Yizan also raised his eyebrows, and a strange color appeared on his face. Oh, big fish. CP0. Everyone's words revealed the identities of these figures. CP0. The CP0 world government is directly under the top secret intelligence agency. It is extremely powerful and is the boss of CP1, CP9, and CP9, but the existence that made Luffy and others almost wiped out. CP0 is the superior of the CP organization. Most of the Navy present knew about this information. After all, everyone present was a high-ranking Navy, and Yizan was there, and he was familiar with the plot. Coupled with his relationship with One Piece Roger, the world of One Piece was really real. There are not many things that Yizan does not know. You know us. One of CP0 said. Hee, of course I know you, a bunch of trash. Chapter 99 Rinnegan_. Nami, Robin, Marina, take Alvia and Kia to the side first. Yizan said slowly, and by the way sent the two shadow clones to the girls for protection. For Yizan, a large part of the One Piece world is still unknown. If nothing else, just talk about devil fruits. Yizan still doesn't know the abilities of many devil fruits. Yizan is worried that there are some in CP0. Devil fruit that I don't know about. Of course Yizan is not afraid, he is just afraid of what if some strange fruit sneaks up on his woman. Although he is domineering, the abilities of some devil fruits cannot be stopped by domineering. What happened to Hancock? Why hasn't he come yet? Yizan glanced at the space door he had opened before and frowned. Before, He opened the space door to prepare to take Kizaru directly to Nine Snake Island, but because of the appearance of Tina and the giantess, Yi-zan temporarily gave up this idea. However, the space door is two-way, and he did not close the space door. Hancock should be here now, right? After CP0 entered the battlefield, the battle came to a standstill for a short time. This group of mysterious guys watched Yi-zan silently, and there was a trace of disdain in their eyes. Sengoku, there is only one opponent, so many of you can't fight. The Navy is really becoming more and more useless. We also need our CP0 to dispatch himself. Okay, let's go. CP0 said a few people one by one, looking at Yi-zan in the center of the battlefield. The purple-black domineering body instantly appeared. Let's try what's going on first. Seeing CP0 rushing over, a sneer appeared at the corner of Yi-zan's mouth. Speaking of this, you are considered lucky. This is a move that you have never seen. Yi-zan said, his eyes suddenly swayed, and an extremely terrifying, desperately terrifying aura burst out from Yi-zan's eyes. Rinnegan. Rinnegan, the ability of the Otsutsuki clan. Because Yi-zan can travel between Hokage and the pirate world at will, he got Rinnegan's power from Kagaya 3 years ago. Yi-zan has been getting Rinnegan for several years, but the battles in the One Piece world have always been sweeping, and there is no chance to use Rinnegan, but this time against CP0, because I want to know the specific information of CP0, but I am worried that CP0 will appear strange devil fruit ability, so I use the safest and most versatile ability, Rinnegan. After all, Rinnegan's various abilities are really suitable for many combat situations, whether it is body, soul, energy, or body. Rinnegan's 6 paths ability can deal with it calmly. What is this? One of CP0 turned around and asked Sengoku, why is there no information about his eyes in the information? He has a lot of abilities, and it's the first time I've seen this ability. Sengoku said helplessly. When CP0 heard this, he turned his head with a cold snort. Trash. I can't even test out the information. The words of CP0 made everyone present annoyed. Some of the information that he was going to say would not be said anymore. This is fatal. Yi-zan's avatar is an avatar after all. If it is targeted, it will really cause some trouble to Yi-zan. Go. Following CP0 feet's words, the three of them quickly attacked Yi-zan. Ha ha. Yi-zan's mouth evoked a strange smile, his hands suddenly hand-seal. The next moment, an invisible terror burst out. Limbo, border jail. Following Yi-zan's words, several figures that no one could see appeared from Yi-zan's body. Boom, boom, boom. 3 voices sounded, causing everyone to look around in disbelief. What's going on? What's going on? What happened? Everyone quickly looked around, trying to see everything around them, but found that there was nothing. Who is it? Everyone looked at the 3 of CP0. When the 3 of them were at a distance from Yi-zan, they suddenly flew out backwards. Who beat me? The 3 quickly got up, looked around and shouted. Something's wrong, who should be shooting, but there is absolutely no one around. The people of CP0 quickly glanced around. It shouldn't be a devil fruit person. Our bodies are all domineering. If it is a devil fruit ability person, it will definitely show up. Yi-zan looked at the people in CP0, frowned, and felt that these people were so weak. Give me a face, commit suicide. Yi-zan said to everyone in CP0. Following Yi-zan's words, a golden force field directly enveloped the CP0 crowd, and the force field instantly changed to Yuhi color. Ah, you've become Yuhi so soon, which means that these people's strengths are not that weak. Yi-zan looked at the CP0 crowd. If that's the case, then let you all know about hiding your strength. Not all the time. Quote. Following Yi-zan's words, the shadow of Limbo Border Jail attacked the crowd of CP0 at an extremely fast speed. Be careful, something is coming. Yi-zan was taken aback by CP0 feet's words. Can you see it? No, can't see it. Yi-zan looked at the reactions of the CP0 crowd, and was instantly certain that the CP0 crowd couldn't see those shadows. So, Yizan looked at the arrogance attached to CP0. Is it domineering? Yizan's eyes narrowed slightly. Not right, very wrong. Could it be that there is a level of arrogance higher than the arrogance of people like Rayleigh and Sengoku? Beyond the S level, Yizan narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at CP0. Yizan already knew about S-level domineering. After all, Yizan already possessed S-level 3 color domineering. However, how can I put it? Yizan doesn't feel that the domineering of these people is S-level, it should be beyond the domineering of S-level. Interesting. The corner of Yizan's mouth evoked a smile. Finally, there are some interesting things. It surpasses the S-level skill book. Yizan is very sure of this. And when Yizan was thinking about this, Shanggong, what's the matter? An extremely beautiful woman got into Yizan's arms and asked Yizan. Hancock, why did you come? But fortunately, there is still time. Yizan pointed to Nami and Robin's daughters at the back, and said to Hancock, you guys stay together, be careful and don't get into trouble. Yeah, Hancock responded and took a step back, facing Yi Xuandao. Master, I brought a group of people over because of my worries. Yizan was stunned for a moment, then turned to look at the space passage, only to find that dozens of beautiful women in uniform rushed out of the space passage. Chapter 100 Sengoku, help. Huh, I didn't expect you to bring the troops here. Yizan tilted his head. If that's the case, well, I'll arrange a task for you. Some can't be explained. Yizan said that he did not know when his hand had already attached to Hancock's butt. Oh, it feels better and better tilde. Yi Shuangxi hugged Hancock with a smile, and Hancock's face was full of yuhi in his bad tone. Shanggong, don't say it in front of so many people. Hancock lowered his head and leaned softly in Yizan's arms. Yizan's eyes lit up, and the thief said to Hancock, you mean it's better not to be in front of so many people? Hate. Hancock gave Yizan a shy glance. At this time, CP0 finally came to Yizan with his strange domineering. Don't you understand why it's better to demolish 10 temples than 1 marriage? It's so damn good to be a light bulb at this time. Yizan said, slapped Hancock's ass heavily. First do business, take your team to surround this place, and don't allow these people to escape. Got it, Hancock said. His shy appearance disappeared instantly, and he turned into a heroine queen, and said to the female warrior of 9 Snake Island, get ready and surround the battlefield. Hancock. At this time, Sengoku yelled at Hancock, don't forget, you are Shichibukai. Chiwahai. Hancock blinked and looked at Sengoku speechlessly. I agree that Chiwahai was not because of me, but at Brother Zan's orders. Now, I can finally be freed. Following Hancock's words, Hancock's army had already surrounded Yizan's battlefield. Kill him. Following CP0 Feet's words, the people of CP0 quickly attacked Yizan. Oh, here we come. Yizan looked at the CP0 crowd, have an observation haki that surpasses the S rank. Then just use an unavoidable move. A move that can't be avoided. The crowd of CP0 looked around. Are you shrouded in the attack range? Susano, Nengu. Yizan's eyes suddenly widened, and countless light blue chakras appeared quickly on his body. In the sight of everyone stunned, the rapid combination of many light blue chakras finally became a huge portrait. This is, what the hell? Everyone looked at everything covering Yizan's body in horror. Nami looked at all this in astonishment, widened her eyes in disbelief, and looked at Yizan. Nami, who had never seen Yizan's strong side, was really surprised this time. Robin, on the other hand, looked at Yizan obsessively, and Robin recalled Yizan's power a long time ago. Such a huge body, although it looks terrifying, can it hit us? After the initial surprise, CP0 expressed that he was not so sure about Yizan's behavior. There are giants in the world of One Piece. Although the giants are very strong in low-end battles, once they reach a certain height, the disadvantage of the giant's natural speed will be revealed. This point, CP0 knows Akatsuki very well, so in CP0 feet's view, such a huge body, in addition to the huge offensive and defensive power, is cumbersome. Can't hit you. Yizan's mouth burst into a strange smile. Demonic illusion. Demonic illusion released by Yizan. CP0 stood still. And Yizan raised the sword in his hand high. What's going on? Fantasy. Not good. After CP0 broke free from Yizan's demonic illusion, Yizan's attack had already reached the top of CP0 feet's head. Armament hockey. Everyone in CP0 gathered, and the black domineering was firmly attached to the body. One of them suddenly stretched out his hands and grabbed the ground in the distance, causing the three of them to quickly escape from the center of Yizan's attack. Although he also received some attacks, Yizan could see clearly that when the man stretched out his hands just now, the purple-black domineering still attached to it. This is... Yizan's eyes narrowed slightly. The reason why Yizan rarely uses domineering now is because domineering is like a double-edged sword. It not only has an effect on the opponent, but also has certain restrictions on himself. After using domineering, many of his moves will have certain effects. Stagnation, but the domineering power of CP0. Yizan suddenly remembered the arrogance learned by Luffy in the original work. After using the rubber fruit to the limit, he could still be attached to the arrogance. In the original work, Yaksha Doflamingo was very surprised by this. Now it seems that there is indeed a kind of domineering that can be achieved. This request. Fun. Yizan tilted his head slightly, looking at CP0 who was still in shock. A terrifying smile cracked at the corner of his mouth. Susanoo. Shadow clone. Following Yizan's words, the huge Susanoo was divided into four, and in terms of momentum, it was simply invincible. Not good. Surrounded. Scatter. CP0 yelled, but unfortunately, before he had time to act, the four Susanoo clones raised their weapons at the same time. Boom boom boom. Huge roars continued to sound, but this time, the four clones were connected to each other by a barrier, preventing CP0 from escaping from Yizan's attack range. Don't even think about escaping from the four Chiang formation, it's impossible. The fight in the cage, like a god, and being attacked by four Susanoo clones, CP0 could only dodge in a panic. This time, Yizan finally saw what happened to the three CP0s. 4.81 of them is a superhuman devil fruit, which can turn both hands into hooks, and the remaining two are the main attacking enemies. Is that all there is? Yizan frowned slightly. Only the domineering looks very different, that's all over here. Following Yizan's words, several Gudodama truth-seeking ball quickly appeared behind the four shadow clones. Goodbye. Gudodama truth-seeking ball instantly turned into several black lightning bolts and attacked CP0 with lightning speed. Be careful. CP0 tried their best to dodge the attack at the first shot, but Gudodama truth-seeking ball can be used infinitely. They tried their best to dodge once, but they couldn't dodge the second time. Sengoku. Help. Boom.